Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yerky Boys. Uh-oh, that sounded too in sync on my end.
Oh, well, see, I'm doing it for your benefit.
Okay, good. Well, we're back after Thanksgiving. We're all stuffed full of turkey.
Oh, man, I'm so full. Oh, I got all that tryptophan in me. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you know what was funny is when the turkey was on the table at my family's house, I jumped up and I pointed at it and I yelled, "Andalite bandit!"
Andalite. See, I just said turkey.
Well, that doesn't really have the same effect.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's how we do now. In the books, it was always Andalite, but now we're saying cat, turkey, annoying
Because why?
nephew, whatever.
Right. What are we actually doing this week?
Oh, this week. Well, we are going to be talking about season 1, episode 7 of the Animorphs TV show, The Escape.
Oh, yeah, this episode aired on October 20th, 1998. A little before Thanksgiving, in fact.
Yeah.
A bit still Halloween yet to come.
This one didn't quite sync up.
No, but you can have an Animorphs-themed Thanksgiving. You can have a big turkey and say it's Tobias.
Yeah, he is a big fucking turkey.
And then you could have, I don't know, you could have sweet Pomarco. And how about this? And some jaked beans.
Jesus.
And what about also on the side some mashed Pomarcos?
Oh my god. You're going to have to be careful. I'm going to start saying Pomarco. You're going to affect my vocabulary.
Well, I've done it before and I'll do it again. You're very susceptible.
No. I am susceptible. What can I say? Listen, it's got to be catchy, but you know, you come up with something as catchy as Pomarco. It just flows off the tongue.
Yeah, that's dynamite. Hey, guess what?
What?
We don't have any. We recorded last week's episode a week early, and still we have no emails.
No more sharing for us ever, probably. Listen, they all just stopped listening when we finished the books. No one wants this shit.
No, nobody. It turns out nobody wants to hear about this show. It's only the freaks who are left.
We got spoiled. Listen, we started this show, no intention of having anyone listening. It was very exciting while it lasted, but we're going to see it through to the end, even if nobody's here.
That's right. We're committed, god damn it.
Yeah.
Well, this is, of course, The Escape. So surely this is based on the book The Escape, right?
Right, book 15, Marco book. We know it. We love it. He sees his mom again. We see our first Lyrans, brain implants in the sharks, all that. Yeah. Yeah, that's not what this episode is.
Bit. Oh, it's not?
No, actually. This episode is actually based on book 17, The Underground.
Well, now wait a minute. I thought episode 3, Underground, was based on The Underground.
Yeah. Now, see, that's a easy mistake to make for the novice Animorph fan, but fortunately, you've got an expert like me to set you straight.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's December now.
Oh, shit, you're right. I was thinking it was November. Did you say it was November earlier and I didn't correct you? Who cares?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay, good.
Anyway, yeah, The Escape. This is another Ron Oliver joint. I don't think there's really anyone new to talk about in the cast or crew either, so.
Well, I mean, the writers are new.
Oh, I didn't look at the writers.
This is Jessica Scott and Mike Walliger.
I like that, yeah, Walliger.
But, they don't have, I mean, at least on Wikipedia, they don't have links on their names. They haven't done any other episodes. I don't know anything about these people.
Well, I'm just taking a glance at the IMDb. Yeah. Would it shock you to know that they both wrote Goosebumps episodes?
No, it wouldn't shock me to know that.
They also have 5. It looks like they wrote together as a team for the most part.
Oh, interesting.
They have 5 total episodes of Animorphs together they worked on. And they also both wrote a season 5 episode of The X-Files.
Okay.
Which
that's sort of like a real...
would have to read the description to see if I remember it. Schizogeny, it's called.
That feels a little problematic.
Teenager is suspected of murdering his stepfather.
Sure.
I bet he was like, "What are you doing, stepson?" You know?
Right. Yeah. No, I know.
I don't think I remembered this episode anyway. They're a writing team. That's kind of fun.
That is kind of fun. They
worked on Star Trek too.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's good. Well, there's also a new actor listed on the IMDb page, Richard McMillan, who plays Edelman.
Oh.
Who you may or may not remember from the books.
From The Escape.
Right, from book 15, The Escape. Yeah, I mean, I assume this guy's not going to show up again, but he did also appear both in Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I want to know who played the the burger joint guy.
You better believe I want to know who played that guy too. We will get to that guy.
We'll get to that guy.
That guy is my hero. Oh, well, there's another recurring, well, not another recurring, there is a recurring side controller in this too, who also isn't credited, so we'll get to him as well.
Yeah, oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't think we looked him up last time.
Yeah, might have to. Might have to find this guy.
Well, I think all the listeners can just be grateful that this week's episode will be a brief one. We are finally getting into our groove of the show where we're going to reach our dream of like 90-minute to 2-hour episodes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. Last time when we hit our groove, it made our episodes longer. This time it's going to make them shorter.
You know, that's fine. That's why you just have to subscribe to the Patreon if you want your full dose of Yerky Boys content. Patreon.com/TheYerkyBoys. You got some extra Thanksgiving money in your stocking this year? Spend it on us. For just $5 a month, you get 4 bonus episodes every single week. And if you'd like to send us a message about the Animorphs in any way, shape, or form, we'll read it on the air. Email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. And now, on with the show.
4 bonus episodes every single week?
Did I say week? I meant month.
Okay. I just don't want you promising anything we're not going to deliver here.
Oh, you didn't know I'm doing 3 other ones on the side?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just me.
Now I feel kind of, well, all right. It's fine.
Yeah,
you can go
dives.
do your other podcasts with your other people. I don't care.
Yeah.
No skin off my back. It doesn't bother me.
Well, it's just me. I just talk a lot about Sheena. Bias is using that.
All your favorite advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you also want longer episodes from us, but you don't want to spend money, you could send an email over to theyerkyboys@gmail.com. We will read it on the show. It will probably add 20 minutes to our runtime, especially considering how none of you can write a short fucking email.
Yeah, I did say that, just so you know.
But did you say theyerkyboys@gmail.com?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah, I ended on that. I
wasn't listening to you anymore.
That was the last thing I said before, and now on with the show, and then you said it again.
I was too busy thinking about your fucking, all right, whatever, mistake. It's fine.
I didn't make a mistake. What about this?
Yeah, okay.
Green bean Casserachel.
Cassie Rachel?
Oh, shit. Wait, that's so much better. Cassie roll was right there. And I said Casserachel. I mean, I kind of like them both.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Well, listen, that one has a lot of potential in it.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, of course, for dessert, you have K.A. Applegate pie. I guess you just called K.A. apple pie.
Sure. I like Applegate pie.
This is fun. This is a whole Patreon episode. Cut all this. This is going in a new bonus Patreon episode.
Yeah, this is how we'll do 4 a month. A week. Whatever. Fucking, I don't even... Christ.
Yeah, should we talk about this show, I guess? The Animorphs TV show?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
This is episode 7?
This is episode 7. We're already on book 17. Although, you know, I will say, I do think, given the tone of this show, and how I personally like it best when it's goofy and campy. This is like one of the obvious plot lines to do, and you can kind of do it whenever you want, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Mister.
that's true.
This whole like oatmeal book thing over here.
A
Yeah,
book that I feel
yeah.
like people. I mean, obviously, we have a whole episode where we talked about this, but I think it's not exactly beloved. Like people like the
Hmm.
oatmeal thing because it's funny, but I feel like fans, it's not like people's favorite book. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes it gets called out as one of the worst books.
Yeah, like people remember the oatmeal thing fondly, and people remember this is where they introduced Happy Meal with Extra Happy. So people remember both of these things fondly, but I feel like nobody really remembers the book as a whole fondly.
I looked back at the summary of it because I wanted to remember
Hmm.
what was in the book. And there's like, I was surprised that there is a lot of stuff in it. Like you said, Happy Meal thing, the
Hmm.
oatmeal thing, the Gleet biofilters first appear. Also, hunter robots first appear.
Maybe only appear.
I think they're in at least they're in like
Okay.
2 or 3 books. I remember
Okay.
them coming back because I was looking out for them. And this is also the book where a guy suicides himself, but
Yeah, and they spend a
Rachel
bunch of
saves him.
chapters talking about it in very problematic
Oh no, yeah,
ways.
and then Arnold Schwarzenegger gives him CPR, which I
Right.
also forgot that. And if you and reading that on the Ceropedia, I was like, "What the fuck? This book series is weird." Um,
Yeah, I mean, one thing about this is they kept a lot from this book in the show, right? They didn't keep. There are several like crazy convoluted action sequences that are very difficult to follow what the hell is going on, like when Rachel saves the guy jumping out of a building and there's like I don't even know multiple morphs and carrying him in some weird shit and it's like 4 chapters or something um sneaking
yeah,
into the mental institution on a truck or whatever is like multiple chapters. So they cut all that junk, which is probably good. um they cut a lot of the stuff where they talk about mental illness and how it's stupid to kill yourself, and they take out all the mentions of suicide. uh they do sadly cut Rachel's Szechuan sauce meltdown at Jordan or whoever, but a lot of it, the most of the other major plot beats are kept. Even the digging, although unlike the book, it's not a like full quarter of the episode.
right. Yes, this is really a speed run of the book. It,
Hmm.
it is mostly there. It goes very fast. I mean, they reduce that entire opening to 2 lines of dialogue about Planet Hollywood,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And to be fair, most of the stuff that they cut is like either like kind of insensitive or very difficult to follow.
Well, yeah, or you would. I mean, there's no way
Yeah.
they weren't going to film a guy jumping out of a building and them trying to
Yeah.
save him, and like that was never going to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, see, I guess this is the problem with Animorphs because, you think you adapt the book to like a visual medium and you're like, okay, so the action sequences are the stuff you expand on because, in a book, I'm much more interested in this character sitting around talking. But it's just like, even if the show was capable of showing that scene, it would be correct to cut it, in my opinion, because it's so bonkers and stupid. And just if you had to look at it, it wouldn't work. It barely works when you describe it in text.
Yeah, I agree. Not remembering it quite as clearly as you, I do think even if you were to do my perfect Animorphs adaptation today, I'd probably just skip this book. Honestly, I mean, maybe you have a little joke about oatmeal. I guess you could do it. There's ways to
Hmm.
do it and take this concept and expand upon it and make it interesting, but
Yeah,
you
no,
don't
I
need
mean,
to.
yeah, this is the kind of book that I would probably be salvaging for parts. Like, I want an
Mhm.
oatmeal episode, but you could do whatever with that plot line, right? I want Happy Meal with
Yeah.
Extra Happy. I want Gleet biofilters. I want a whole plot line involving their return to the Yerk pool after they've been away from it for a while. But those, you can put those wherever you want, right?
You don't need anything with the mentally ill can go.
Yeah.
That's really not necessary. I mean, we moved past it, but the title of this episode.
Yeah,
I get, like, I understand. Okay, we want to do this book. We already called the episode Underground because I guess why did we do that? I don't know. Somebody fucked up. We can't
yeah.
use that title. So let's call it The Escape. Okay, but what happens if you want to do The Escape? And also, that title's not relevant to this episode either.
Yeah, right? Like you would think, okay, they don't even call, this is only what the second episode that they used a the whatever template for. They could have called it literally anything. It doesn't even
Yeah,
have to be a
yeah.
the word.
Just call it oatmeal. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
And
It's
if
so
you
weird.
if they've decided this is the template, call it the oatmeal. Call it whatever. It doesn't even, yeah, it's crazy. The decision to call it the name of a different Animorphs book is already kind of like, okay, you're setting yourself up for trouble down the line. But the decision to do that when it doesn't have anything to do with the book is crazy.
Like, was it just
Or
a
the,
coincidence? Did they just not look ahead and they're like, I don't know, The Escape is a cool title? Or, like, how did this happen? I need to know.
yeah, who is in charge of these? Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know why you would. They could have just picked. Like, did they throw a dart at the wall of books to see which one they were? Or maybe they looked at The Escape and they were like, we are fucking not doing this one. There's no way. Underwater shit, Lyrins? No way.
Yeah, let's just use this. It is funny that last week we were like, oh, I guess they're skipping to book 15. No, they're skipping to book 17.
It does
Oh,
make more
okay.
sense, though. They haven't set up everything they need to do to do book 15, whereas in this one, yeah, you could
Right.
do it whenever, as
But we
long as
thought they
you're.
might, because they haven't done Marco's mom yet. We also still
Yeah.
haven't had an Ellimist on the show. So Tobias still can't morph, even though he could in this book.
Yes,
So,
which does
yeah.
lead to some strange moments in terms of how did Tobias get here at the end, but
I'm going to, last episode we ended by saying, hey, whatever good and bad about this show, we're still excited to see what's going to happen next and how they do things. It's still fun to watch and everything like that.
hmm
I think after I watched this episode, I said, you know what? Maybe the honeymoon period is over. I think maybe I maybe no longer feel that way. So
Uh-oh.
there's my going into this episode. There's my overview of how I feel.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't
We'll
know that I'm
see.
quite as doomerist about it as you are. And that, like, but I do feel like last episode I was like, there's some parts I don't like, there's some parts I do like. We'll see what they do moving forward. In this episode, I'm just like, yep, there's some parts I don't like, there's some parts I do like. A lot of it is the same parts, and it kind of feels like, yeah, we're settling into a groove. It's not terrible. I'm still enjoying it to some degree, but I agree with you on that honeymoon period. I'm not looking at this optimistically like, let's see what they do. I'm getting the feeling that I know what they do going
I
forward. It's
think
this.
technically this episode has some of the worst editing, directing, and acting so far. And it doesn't help that it's so close to the book that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the book, except it took 10 seconds instead of 2 chapters.
hmm
But I think we should just start talking about the episode, and we'll go through it in
Sure.
detail.
I am interested because I don't know that I saw that like the worst. A lot, to
Mm,
me it was just like, yeah, this is standard wheelhouse. It didn't seem, but
mm.
I'm
Yeah,
interested to see where you were looking at it. But
yeah, I'll point out a couple parts.
all right, all right. Um, all right. So let's open up. We open up. Similar to the books with Marco and Rachel want to go see this Planet Hollywood opening. It's just they lift a lot of that conversation, but it's those two in acts. They're in a diner. They're talking about it, but we there's a guy who's eating oatmeal and he has a fucking freak out meltdown. Um,
which was a really funny way to find out, not knowing what this episode would be.
yeah.
And he starts screaming about oatmeal. Oh, okay. I guess
I
they're doing oatmeal.
know which one this is immediately. Yeah. A lot. There's. I feel like there's a lot to say about this scene already.
Yeah, well, first of all, I forgot that Axe was on the show for a minute, and when I
Mhm.
just saw them sitting there, I was like, "Who the fuck is that guy?" I was like, "Are they eating with Tom? Who is that?" Oh, right, it's Axe. Right.
I
Okay.
mean, right off the bat, we've got a scene where Axe is eating food and he should be like fucking freaking out about it. And I guess he is. Like he likes it. He's like sticking his fingers in the milkshake or whatever. But man, it feels really subdued. Like, he's just being kind of gross. Like the guy with the oatmeal is having a full-blown fucking freak out and Axe is just kind of being like a gross piece of shit, like kind of like a normal kid who's disgusting. And I'm remembering last episode you said it would be very easy for Axe to kind of steal the show because he's the alien guy. He's the guy you want to see. And man, he really doesn't steal the show in this episode. Like at all.
No,
Like fucking
no, the
every
show
scene.
rejects him.
Yeah, no, he's like there being a weird alien guy who's awkward, and you know who's the star of every single shot Axe is in? Marco.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in the intro. This poor guy, this poor actor, does not get to
Oh
be
yeah,
part of the intro.
forgot to watch for that.
Nope, it's the same exact opening as always. I, yeah, I mean, man, if you didn't watch the previous episode,
Yeah.
you would have, and hadn't read the books, you would have no idea who is this guy? Why is he special? What is interesting about him? He's clearly the least interesting of all of these teenagers. He's just a guy who's, I guess we see him as an Andalite later.
Yeah, we do get a shot of him as an Andalite, but like, we don't see him morph and they aren't very clear about showing Andalites because they're all heads on a stick, so it's just kind of
Yeah.
you just kind of have to recognize the voice or remember or know already, I guess. Yeah, I don't I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell. One thing about that, I wonder there is a production order thing, like several episodes were skipped or
Hmm.
air that were made before this aired later. Maybe they fucked up and put this one aired it too early and so there was supposed to be more explanation as to what the fuck Axe is doing there. I don't know.
I wonder. Yeah, that's the thing with older kids shows that you never know for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, talking more about his eating. This is just the worst
Mhm.
introduction to Axe eating. It
Yeah.
sucks so much. It's him drinking a milkshake, and yeah, his reaction to tasting it is just so subdued. This is the first time we've seen him on the show eating something. This should
Yeah.
be the moment. This should be the whole intro. There should be a whole cold open that's just them in the food court with him freaking out.
Maybe
And
that's a
he's just
later episode and they just
maybe.
were like, "Well, we already filmed that one. Oh wait, shit, we're airing this first."
Yeah, it's very possible because he just like
Yeah.
puts his fingers in. He's just like nom, nom, nom. Like he doesn't. You don't even see his face. And this is maybe the
Yeah.
first. This whole scene, but this in particular is the first example for me of, I think, just poor editing and also sound. Like for this moment is just underplayed so much, and it feels strange. It feels awkward. Marco
Mhm.
is saying, "Oh, slow down there, buddy," and yet he's not being that weird at all.
Yeah.
And also the the background noise in this diner, it is terrible. If you
Mhm.
go back and just listen to the background, it sounds like the first result if you searched YouTube for like restaurant noise. It sounds like two people going dum ba dum bum 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 and like one spoon hitting a table over and over again. It's the fakest, least immersive shit I've ever heard. Immediately, I was just not feeling this episode.
I mean, that is fair. I don't think anything you've said is wrong. I was more focused on the fucking oatmeal guy, but like, yeah, 100%, you are right. Like, it is a huge problem with some combination of like the reason Axe doesn't have impact isn't just because they didn't write it good and he didn't act it good. It is also largely the direction and editing just kind of not showing you his reaction at all. Like, it's not even like they show it and it's subdued. It's subdued because, as you said, Marco's reacting like, oh, slow down there. And it's like, I didn't see him even fucking eat it. I saw Marco say, slow down there. How is that? What's the impact?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a strange follow up to the last episode. It feels like a letdown. What I did like about this intro was that Marco and Rachel are clearly on a date, and Axe is the third wheel over here. I mean, it is so, honestly,
Yeah.
even more, look, listeners know I ship Marco and Rachel. I'll
Right.
never stop. But even more than the books, the fact that, Jake has Cassie and Rachel's his cousin, so that's a no-no.
Does Jake even have Cassie in this show?
Well, no, we don't know yet. Not really. But just the fact that that's a thing, and the fact that Tobias is a bird, because I'm seeing it now instead of just reading it, it really is so much more obvious that it's like, well, the two people left who are viable and that can have chemistry with each other, it's these two human beings. Like, if you're watching this in live action, especially with the way this show is portraying it, you could spend more time on the Tobias relationship, I guess, which they've done a little bit of, to be fair. But it's like you're seeing, okay, these two kids together. Who are you rooting for, them or girl and bird? Obviously you're seeing the chemistry between these two actors way more. And in this episode, there's a few moments where they're joking with each other and all this stuff. It's like, come on, these two kids love each other.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. You need to. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that you're going to have chemistry with the other human and not the bird, but you do, because you do have to lean into it, right? Like, even in the books, they have some trouble, especially when K.A. Applegate is still writing, with Tobias and Rachel not appearing as close as it occasionally says they are. But yeah, like, visually, you two actors can like make eye contact and smile at each other, and you just aren't going to naturally get that with an actress carrying a bird around on her arm. Although I do appreciate that they do have shots where she does that. Like, they at least are making an effort. You really do need the actress like leaning in and nuzzling up to the bird or some shit. Although, I'm sure there are animal trainer reasons why that's not so easy.
I mean, no disrespect to Brooke Nevin, but you need to be like, I think it's a hard thing to ask for a kid who hasn't done too many. A kid, she was probably like 20. I don't even know, but or actually no, I thought she was. I remember we looked at their ages in that Stars book. We'll find out how old they are coming up. She might have. I think maybe. Yeah. I feel like she was the youngest one or something.
Yeah, well, because when we watched Goosebumps on the Patreon, go subscribe. Like, she looked noticeably younger, and it came out like a few years before. So I think we were looking at it and trying to figure something out with that, but I don't remember.
But regardless, the point I was making was, what was the point I was making? Something about, oh yeah, I think it's just like a good actress with good direction and with good editing to make it to, the line of sight line up with the bird's eyes or whatever.
Right.
It's possible to do it, but it's like, just I don't blame her. Like, it's a tough ask for a younger actor. But also, like, that's what I'm sure I'm repeating myself from past books discussions too, but I would like to see that in an adaptation. I feel like you should have this love triangle thing. Even if it's not really a love triangle, Tobias should be jealous of Rachel and Marco. Yeah. Because he gets to be a boy and pal around with her and he doesn't. Like, that should be part of the text.
Yeah, because like there are occasional paragraphs where Marco will say like, but he never says like, it never feels like a romantic thing. It always feels more like I'm kind of jealous that other people get to be humans with her, right? It's never like a fucking Marco's always hitting on her. And that's an interesting thing because there's also a lot of interesting stuff to explore with the Marco Tobias dynamic that is honestly more explored in the books, the way that they kind of do have this banter. Like, Tobias is able to joke about him being a bird, and Marco enjoys that about him, even if other people sometimes find that kind of uncouth. And Tobias thinks that Marco's kind of an ass about it, but they still kind of get along well. There's an interesting chemistry there, and you can combine that with that pseudo love triangle thing. Add to that the
Yeah.
fact that Rachel's a fucking psychopath who, you know, you can go in there and be like, look, Rachel doesn't have feelings for Marco. She has feelings for Tobias, except she doesn't ever act like she has feelings for anyone. Does she actually even have feelings for Tobias? Like, look at the way that she just doesn't connect with people because she's a violent Amazonian psycho. There's layers to this shit that are interesting to explore. That it
Yeah.
would be nice to see explored. That is what you get out of an adaptation. You get to do all the stuff that the series didn't quite hit.
Yeah, which is exactly what happens in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
If wishes were horses, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, I know what you're saying. We'd have book 14.
Exactly. Now I'll tell you who does their job, who knows what their job is here, is George Edelman,
Hmm.
aka the oatmeal guy, freaking out about oatmeal here.
Yeah. Again, coming back to the axe thing, even worse than the fact that he no sells the food thing, he's completely upstaged by another guy having a food freak out in what should be his moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Axe should be pissed. That actor should be pissed off.
Yeah.
They are screwing him. That is a real shame. But the guy is good. He's sweating. He's flopping around.
Yeah, he looks gross as hell. He's got like oatmeal smeared all over his face.
He's begging for oatmeal like a heroin addict.
They do the fucking crazy camera shit, which, listen, I like it here because it's so goddamn stupid and over the top what he's doing. You should lean into it. But, they're doing the ultra close-ups, the Dutch angles, the like quick dolly in zoom and then doing it doubled, boom boom. Yeah, it's good. There's these like boom boom sound effects going on.
There's shots of this fan on the ceiling that are, for some reason, I guess, are supposed to be ominous.
I was trying to figure. I have a couple of notes in here where I'm just like, what? Why the fan? Why is this fan? How does this relate? Is it because he's sweaty?
Yeah, maybe that's what it's supposed to be. Just, I don't know. If it was a good director, then you'd see, it would seem like, oh, the atmosphere of the diner, every little thing is making you nervous or paranoid. But here it just comes off like we needed another shot of something. There it is.
No, if it was a good director, you would know why they put it in there. And if it was a good editor, they would have said, we don't know why you put it in there. I'm not cutting these shots in between. Fuck you.
Yes, it's a joint failure there.
Yeah.
I'm also Rachel's monologue. Then she in her voiceover, does she say my name is Rachel? By the way,
no, she doesn't. But it is a Rachel voiceover because it's a Rachel book, I guess.
Sure, there you go. I also thought it was weird when she's like, I try to forget about the Yerks, but something always reminds me. At this point in the episode, there's nothing to indicate that this guy has anything to do with Yerks. He's just yelling about oatmeal.
Yeah, he like slaps at his head, and I guess that's supposed to be like the thing where they like clutch at their ear or something, but it doesn't say anything about Yerks or anything. And even later on in the episode, Cassie's like, most controllers don't do that stupid thing where they slap at their ear. That doesn't mean anything. And in the book, the guy he jumps out of a building and they don't think he's a Yerk. They just think he's a crazy guy until Rachel reveals later. And she reveals later in the same way in this episode. There's not really a reason for them to think this guy's a Yerk at this point. Like not even a meta reason where you didn't write a reason, so they just think that.
Unless you just know this book.
Yeah.
That's the meta reason.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you just know the book and you don't feel like waiting 2 seconds.
It's just so unconcerned with explaining anything to the viewers. Like, I mean, they do. We'll get our exposition scenes in this episode, but so much of it, I just feel like if I did not read all these books recently, I would just think nothing makes sense in this world. It's just loose. There's barely an A to B. It's like A to you'll figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's complete opposite of the books, right? They were like, nobody likes the exposition every chapter. Let's just not put any in.
That was where they went with it. I
Yeah.
don't know where these cops came from either. Are you supposed to think they're controllers? Because they're just like they just
Yeah.
walk in the second they're needed.
I mean, I'm assuming they're cop controllers, right? But, part of it is just because they look like assholes, but, you know,
Yeah,
what I mean, could be. On the topic of this being a Rachel episode, I do think that this is Rachel's best episode in terms of characterizing her by a small margin, which is not saying much at all.
Yes.
It
Well, so okay, we get past the intro. They're in a barn scene here.
Right, we're in a barn scene, and I just want to call out to all of our listeners who didn't write us any emails. This is normally when we might be starting the episode. We're already a full fucking scene in. It's your own fault you
Yeah,
don't get content.
that's right. I hope you're happy.
All right. Yeah,
Anyway,
there's a barn scene.
there's a barn scene. This what this really reminds me of is remember in the books when Marco told us, or maybe Rachel told us, I forget who first said it, how Marco always calls Rachel Xena, warrior princess,
Yeah, yeah.
and yet it was the first time he ever did it.
Yep,
That's
had the same thought.
exactly what happens here when they do the thing where Marco says, "I'm in." Oh, I just wanted to say it before Rachel for once.
Hmm.
And I'm like, and then she also says, "Let's do it," a minute later. And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, I guess points. I gotta give some points because
yeah,
they're trying,
yeah,
but they're acting like this is how Rachel has always been, and she has never shown an ounce of this attitude on the show before now.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they do make also a thing about it, right? Like she has multiple "let's do it's" and Margot riffing on that throughout the episode, which is good. Um, it doesn't. The problem is it's not even like earned in this episode. Like as much as Rachel has more characterization, I don't know that that characterization makes her seem like wild and violent or anything.
It's the bare
Or
minimum
reckless.
instead
Yeah.
of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not even good in that sense. You know,
Maybe it is again, like you were saying. Maybe it's those episodes in between. Maybe this
yeah,
was a production order thing. I don't
maybe,
know.
maybe. But I mean, okay, so but like that's the sort of thing that can help the characterization is just doing that, right? If you're just like I just pretend we always did it. Okay, but it does mean you're doing it now. On that note, in terms of dropping the ball on Axe, we ended with the Prince Jake riff last time, which was good. Don't get any of that shit this episode. You really need to, which implies to me that we're not going to get any more of the Let's Do It's in later episodes. They're just going to forget about it.
Mhm.
That only really works if you keep doing it.
We did it once. That's good enough, right?
Yeah.
I got to see it.
Well, we'll
I don't.
see.
I'm not convinced that Axe's actor is actually in the same room as these other actors. I think maybe they green screened him in. But most of these scenes, he doesn't even have any lines.
Yeah.
He's like an extra. It's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, it is sad. Like, this should be. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we talked about it already, but like, yeah, this should be such a huge. This is what you. They just got a fucking alien kid.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They are so over it. They're like, who cares? That's Axe. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, he's just gonna say a weird line every 5 minutes. He'll say one of them. Who?
Hey, how about the fucking disc? Ask him about the fucking disc.
We forgot about that. Is this the first episode they don't mention the disc at all? Like they've given
Maybe
shout
they
outs
already
to it.
solved it. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
really keep thinking about maybe there's 5 episodes in between where they figured out the disc already.
Yeah, Axe already told him. It doesn't. The reason we didn't devote an episode is because he was like, "Oh, that's just some random bull. Oh shit, that's my brother's porn stash. Don't look at that." Fucking.
I got kind of a porn stash right now. You know what I'm saying?
Delete that. Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Well, one thing we criticized the book for was its portrayal of the mentally ill.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that this episode is sort of an opportunity for them to make up for that and to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's better than the book. Fir First image of the mentally ill we see, because they're gonna sneak into the hospital, right? And they're gonna, Marco and Rachel as doctors. This is the same as it was in the book. The first image of a mentally ill guy we see is some guy pretending to be an airplane running through the hallways going, "Brrrr," which I think is a lot better than it was in the books, where they
I
just spend
yeah.
forever being like, haha, all those wackos. I guess it's not politically correct to call them wackos. Ha ha. Man, you gotta be a complete fucking moron to kill yourself. Jesus.
To be clear, these are your thoughts right now that you're
Oh,
saying,
yeah,
right?
to be 100% clear.
Well, then another guy comes up
Uh,
to them in the hallway and he's like, "Oh, jibbity kaboodaba!" Like he just says some stupid shit to, or maybe it's the. Oh no, yeah, it's a different guy. It's not the
yeah,
helicopter
it's a
guy.
different guy, yeah.
He kind of looks like Crispin Glover. This other guy. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Crispin Glover. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's they don't do much more than that, but it's still funny. It's still funny that that's immediately where they go.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this? I couldn't remember. So in the book, they disguise themselves as doctors. Also,
Yeah. Okay, so in the books, there's like 3 or 4 chapters of them trying to sneak into this building as cockroaches or something in like a truck and like in the walls. And then when they get in there, when they actually go into his room, they like pretend to be doctors or something.
okay, yeah, because that's what, no pun intended, bugs me about this whole sequence is
Mm-hmm.
at no point do they say, "Hey, you know how we can do that thing where we morph? Let's do that."
Mm-hmm.
They, and then later on they have to escape. Not even really escape. They're like hiding in a closet, and it's like, just what? Why don't you turn into a bug? What are you doing? That's your
Yeah.
whole thing. Turn
Yeah.
into a fucking bug.
Well, one of the things that strikes me when I'm listing off at the beginning, all right, let's take out all the shit scenes that are crazy and don't make sense and you don't need for the storyline. And to be fair, that is all the scenes where they morph. Right.
Yeah, but
Like, you're right. You would
I'm
put back
watching
in. Yeah.
Animorphs.
Right.
Show them morphing.
Yes,
What
you
the
could
fuck?
include, and it does mean you don't get the scene which I did genuinely like in the book, where some patient catches Rachel morphing into a human in the bathroom from like a bug or something, and he's like, "Are you
Oh
real?"
yeah.
And Rachel's like, "Nope, where's Edelman?" And he's like, "Oh, he's down the hall." Like that's a good scene.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's another episode where we don't actually see any of the morphing. It's
No,
all cuts.
there's barely any morphing even, outside of that.
It upsets me. It upsets me. You're Animorphs. You are.
Hmm.
We never settled, by the way, if they said Animorph or not on the
Oh yeah, I
show.
forgot to check.
I still believe they didn't.
You could easily be right.
They certainly haven't said it at all this episode or last episode. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, the,
I like Marco's little hip bone connected to the thigh bone quip. I love Marco.
yeah, I mean that was kind of funny. It was he sort of
Yeah.
mumbles it, and then immediately a crazy person comes up to him
Yeah.
and starts yelling.
Well,
So
that's actually kind of why I liked it. Like it didn't come across like he's just snapping off a joke. He's just kind of like riffing to
he's just
himself.
riffing.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not really, going anywhere with that. It's good. It works.
Yeah, that is a good handling of Marco. There's some bad handling of Marco later. I'm gonna
Okay.
say
Okay,
we're
okay.
not there yet.
Okay.
But this is when we get our big exposition scene,
Oh,
which
yeah.
also serves as exposition for the whole show. If you just don't know
Yes,
what the show is,
it is funny. They come in as doctors, and they ask him about Yerks, and Edelman just gives a whole goddamn. He gives the expo. He's like, "Let me tell you about Yerks. Here's the opening paragraphs to any book." I don't really know what this is about. Clearly, you don't care whether we understand this or not. You don't need to um put it in here for us. And they
yeah,
also cut the part from the books where they're just like, okay, but how does it survive without Kandrona rays? And Edelman's like, oh shit, you guys are Andalites, right? Like he just
yeah. He
doesn't.
just tells them that.
I mean, I did think it was funny where he's like, "You look like kids," and Marco's like, "Oh, interesting. He thinks we're kids. Let me write that down." That's that's kind of funny. I don't think
Yeah,
that was there.
it's not bad. It's not bad. So the way he explains the oatmeal effect on the Yerks. Is
Yeah.
it a little? It's not quite the same as in the books, but then then it seems like he retcons what he said, and it is sort of.
Yeah, it's not clear. I mean, so one thing that you know, thought reading the book and was thinking reading the book as a kid and talked about on the show is how the book really feels like it's attempting to function as an anti-drug PSA, but then just totally drops the ball, and doesn't really work because the whole thing is like, oh, the Yerks are addicted to the oatmeal, and part of the ethical discussions about it are like, oh, well, the Yerks are going to be. Is it right to get them addicted? I don't know, and they're going crazy over it, and they need the oatmeal, and I don't get any kind of anti-drug PSA vibe at all from this episode. And part of it
Mm-mm.
is in the difference in the description, right? Like he says the closest he comes, he says like they crave it so much they forget to control their hosts or something, and not like it physiologically fucks with them so they can't do it, but also they like need it to survive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the way that I understood it from the book in my memory is that the Yerks wanted to eat the oatmeal
Mhm.
originally because it replaced Kandrona for them. And then it had bad side effects, they found out later.
Yeah, I mean, a
And the
big part
way
of it was also the addiction. Like, the Yerks were just
sure.
straight up addicted to it. They were like junkies. They were stashing it. There were people like, "Are you keeping oatmeal?" "No, I don't do oatmeal, I swear," kind of
But that
thing.
came late. Like that was after they initially started eating it. They didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
I'm
you have to eat
trying
it
to
once.
remember if they started eating it explicitly to avoid Kandrona, or if that was just like they started
Hmm.
eating it because it was around and then they were finding they were
Okay. Yeah,
whatever. I
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember that detail. But in the show when Edelman explains it, it sounds more like the host is the one who like wants the oatmeal because it stops the yerk. It's not that the yerk's addicted to it. It's that the host is like, oh, I got to keep eating oatmeal to keep the yerk at bay.
Oh, interesting. Because I thought the guy did say the Yerk
Well,
really
that's the
wants to
thing.
eat oatmeal.
Yeah, he says it. He first says it the way that I just said it, and then
Oh,
I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
that's totally different." And then 30 seconds later, he basically rephrases it so it's the same as the book. So I was
That's
like,
true. I wasn't even
"What?"
thinking about that because I was so much on the page of the book. Like, when are you gonna get to saying the Yerks are addicted? Are you gonna do that at all? But you're right. He does start off basically saying like, I was just eating my oatmeal at breakfast, and suddenly I found that
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
control. Yeah.
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 It's totally different, but then
Yeah.
they just don't do it different.
Yeah.
So what's the point of that line? I don't understand. What were they going for? Because that could
Yeah.
be interesting, like a different angle on it, but I don't know.
Yeah, well,
It's
so
just confusing.
one of the things I really criticized the book for was that they don't, they set up this idea of what's going on with the oatmeal and the yerk, and they set up this ethical dilemma, and then they don't fucking explore it at all, and so it feels like they really dropped the ball on this concept. And here they don't really get into a lot of it. Like they mirror what happened in the books, but they don't even go that far. Like it feels like part of the reason that you don't understand what he's saying is because they drop the ball on even explaining or understanding what's happening. Like they want to hit the oatmeal beat. Oatmeal's the secret weapon, but they don't even really want to get into why it's happening. And I wonder if part of it was that they just didn't want to make an anti-drug PSA, and they can't say anything that might remind you of drugs if it's not specifically an anti-drug PSA. So they have to cut that the same way that they cut the suicide because you can't have suicide. I don't know.
Yeah, the opening still did make me think of drug addiction.
Hmm.
When the guy's freaking out over the oatmeal,
Hmm.
but you know the substance of the episode doesn't really reckon with that. You know what I keep thinking about?
The substance.
No, well now I am. I was
Couple
actually
of
thinking about
parallels.
brain grain.
Brain grain.
Yeah, you remember brain grain?
I don't remember brain grain.
Well, surely you remember We're Back, a dinosaurs story.
Of course, I remember We're Back, a dinosaur story.
Oh, well, brain grain is a special cereal and that the aliens have, and that's what the dinosaurs eat that makes them smart.
Okay.
Yeah, and the aliens come down, and that's what makes the dinosaurs like human-like, is they eat this cereal called brain grain.
Interesting. I did not recall brain grain.
Yeah, I was just remembering that. We should do We're Back for the Patreon because I actually really hate that movie. That'd be pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, that could be fun.
It's got dinosaurs, it's got aliens and talking
Yeah,
animals. I think that fits our criteria. There's
that's
kids in it.
that's a lot like
It's from the
Megamorphs
90s.
2.
It's a lot like it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll put
This
that on the schedule.
we need more side tangents about We're Back and Brain Green to fill out the episode. So I'm
Brain
just trying
grain.
to make that work.
Yeah. Listen, we just can't sustain our old episode length anymore, and we're not getting any support. It sucks. The
No.
show sucks now.
Fuck you for listening right now.
It's
If you're
everyone
listening still,
else's
turn
fault.
it off.
Not
Turn
my
this
fault.
shit off.
Not
You don't
your
deserve
fault
it.
either.
This is for us. Fuck you. The guy, by the way, Edelman also says, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Yeah, I was thinking Kay Applegate couldn't have written that in the original because she doesn't know shit about Star Wars.
That's right. Here's another big change from the books.
Mhm.
No ginger. They cut out the ginger. It's just maple oatmeal.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Big mistake.
Boo.
Boo. Boo.
How
Yeah.
about Rachel and Marco wearing masks? Remember COVID?
Yeah,
Anyway, go
I
ahead.
do remember COVID. There's
Go ahead.
I actually have a note about COVID in here.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't really have anything good to say about it though, so I kind of skipped it.
Oh, yeah?
There is a bit at like the end of this scene where they walk away where they like quickly put on their masks to hide their faces and then turn and walk toward the camera, and Marco just kind of fucks up and doesn't get his mask on right and it falls away. And I have a note that's just like, you didn't want to redo that shot? Okay, sure. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That was the only take they had. They had to clear the set for an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark or
Yeah.
Alex Mack or something.
Yeah. Fucking, yeah. Now, this guy, Edelman, now in the books, the Yerks just keep him in the mental hospital. And at the end, Rachel turns into a bear and breaks him out. And she's like, who's going to believe the crazy people when they talk about a talking bear or whatever? And I'm pretty sure the Yerks also just kind of like kill you and your host if you get addicted. Now in this one, they just kind of, I guess the Yerk is affected by it, but the maple, not in ginger, just the maple oatmeal stays stuck in your system or something, because they send some like security guard looking controllers in to extract his Yerk and replace it. So for the rest of the episode, he's just around as a regular Yerk now, and he's not addicted to oatmeal anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Also, perfect time to reuse Chad controller, which they don't do. Boo. Where's Chad controller? I don't want these fucking dumpy security guard controllers.
That's right. We want to see some muscles.
That's right.
We want to see a buff hunk taking his shirt off to help out with this Yerk.
As we said before, he's action hero Chad, you know.
We want to see those abs rippling.
Lover boy Chad is Marco. We still get plenty of him.
Come on, Marco's not a Chad. I mean, he
He's
gets
a
the ladies,
Brad,
but he's not a Chad. Yeah, maybe he's a Brad. My favorite part about this scene is when the controllers pull a curtain up so that no one can see them taking the Yerk out of the guy's head, I guess, except they don't know anyone else is in the room. They could just lock the door. There's no reason to pull this curtain over except that they didn't want to have to figure out how to show
Yeah.
them putting a yerk in and out of a head. They couldn't even get, a little rubber slug
Yeah.
to like start to show they're putting it in his ear or anything. They're just like,
Yeah.
nah, curtains there.
Yeah,
Bye
they
bye.
like reach into a thermos with some tongs and then cut. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of the Yerks leaving people's ears in the episode 3 Underground, where they just
Huh?
kind of like shake their head and then something drops into the pool. It's probably a rock or something and makes a splash, and they just very clearly do not want to show you a Yerk.
Yeah, how hard could that be? That just feels so lazy to me.
Like, could
Just
it
get a
really,
yerk.
given how bad they're willing to have the Hork-Bajir look, given the fucking fake skunk they were tossing around last episode, they really could have just done, they could have gone to the store and bought a rubber slug or something, and it would have been fine.
Anything. Yeah, it's easy. Like paint it gray or green or silver or yellow. I don't know, whatever the fuck color they're supposed to be, depending on what illustration you're looking at or how the books describe them.
Yeah, put some
It's
rubber in a mold or something. It's not, it doesn't
or
have to
not
fucking
even
look good.
or just you don't even have to show it. Like just you can show the other side of the guy's head while he's like standing with the tongs. Maybe they were afraid that's too scary or too graphic, so they just
Hmm.
didn't want to show it at all.
Yeah, I
Uh,
wonder, because this show is, unlike regular Animorphs books, completely appropriate and acceptable for children. I wonder how much the censors came in and were like, you can't do that.
yeah. Yeah, maybe. That may be just all in the editing. Or, well, no, I guess not, because they did physically pull a curtain up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mean like they did it and then they got it cut. I just mean like somebody told them you can't do it, so they were like, I guess we can't do it. What are we gonna do instead?
Right, right. If they even wanted to do it from the
Yeah,
outset,
if
they
they
might have
even
just been
wanted to.
like, "No, we're not doing that. Just show them in the closet. Doopity doo. What are we gonna do? Film something?"
Doopity doo. A doopity doo. I mean, he has another crazy meltdown freak out. Unfortunately, he's not addicted to oatmeal anymore after this, so we don't get any more Edelman like grabbing his head and thrashing around while they do the weird slow-mo stuff, which is too bad. Watching him, I was thinking, which is something I occasionally think with shows like this, man, I wish I could have gotten in. Uh, Imagine if I had been around in the 90s and I could have just, or
Mhm.
better yet, the 80s, and I could have just done like a shitty job being a weird fucking guy on one of these shows. Would have been the
Yeah,
highlight of my life.
yeah. You would have been perfect. Would have been great. You didn't have to be a good actor back then on a kids show.
Yeah. Everyone's so concerned with quality now.
It really is a shame. Our society has gone downhill. This obsession with quality has ruined everything.
You're right. You're 100% right. Is Edelman how you would pronounce this guy's name?
I honestly couldn't remember. I wonder how we said it in the episode because
I
there's a good chance we said Edelman.
I was gonna say, I guarantee you I said Edelman. Or Edelman,
I
rather.
I I feel like I might have said Edelman and maybe we had an argument about it.
Fully possible. Edelman, like Edelweiss or something.
I don't.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
would not have said Edelman like Edelweiss because I'm not a German freak like you. I might have said Edelman. I probably would have said Edelman too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
sure. I don't know. Whatever. It's Edelman here, so that's it. Uh
Edelman. It's not the weirdest name K.A. Applegate ever came up with.
no,
It
it's
is funny
pretty
that they kept
normal.
it. Yeah, like because they changed another name or two already.
They
I feel like there was
probably
another
have.
some random guy had a different name, but
Sure.
whatever.
So okay, we get a little bit of Tobias scouting. We get our first shot of Tom's Burgers, which place looks gross as hell from the outside. I would still eat there
Tom's
probably.
Burgers.
Uh, Also a bunch of Tobias fucking squawking. He was squawking too, by the way, in the barn. I have every time Tobias squawks, I have a note that says squawk. Uh, Now that you've pointed it out, he's pretty annoying.
Right? He won't shut the fuck up, this bird.
Squawk!
I'd just be throwing shit at him if I was Marco. Shut the fuck up, Tobias. Rat, rat, rat. Tobias want a Rachel? Rat.
It's probably why Rachel's so much more into Marco in this show.
Yeah, for
She listen
real.
to that shit.
Who would you want to hang out with? Not that guy. Anyway,
Anyway,
Tom's Burgers, whatever, doesn't
yeah,
matter.
we'll
Moving
get to
on.
Tom's Burgers when we get inside, but we have the return of our gay scientist. So that
Wait,
makes me happy.
he's a gay scientist?
Remember last time you were like, I think this guy wants to fuck Visser 3's human morph.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that's what I think of him now.
Yeah, okay. I didn't remember that. I don't know. To me, that's less about your sexual orientation, and more just about the pure animal magnetism of Eugene Lipinski.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it.
Like gay, straight, bi, whatever you are, you want to fuck that guy because of his power and his pheromones. I'm just assuming that he smells really good.
That's probably true. No, I get it. I see it. It makes sense to me. More recurring controllers, please. Like seeing this guy, it makes me happy, but it does make me wonder what happened to the lady with the weird fucking face from the mall. What happened to Chad
Yeah.
controller? Give me more.
Yeah, that is fun. I like that. That's good for this guy that they brought him back, and it makes sense because he's showing off the GLEAT biofilter, so there's a reason for them to be talking to a scientist.
Yeah, we get to see the GLEAT biofilter. They don't say GLEAT in this episode, though, because they're cowards.
Yeah, fucking cowards. You know what they do say? And this actor in particular, I noticed, he says Hork-Bajir with a hard J.
He says it also, like, weird. Because, before, in this show, they've said Hork-Bajir. But this guy says Hork-Bajir, but he says it like Hork-Bajir. Like he stumbles over it, like he's not sure what he's supposed to say or something.
Yeah, well, no one really knows how they're supposed to say anything from these books.
It would be pretty easy to just have a standard and tell the guy how to do it.
Well, tell that to fucking
Ron Oliver.
No, god damn it. Fuck Billy D. Williams is what I was gonna say. Han and Han.
Right. Well, that one's probably a dialect thing, right? Like on some planets,
Well, that's that happens in real life. Someone will like Mario and Mario.
Right. Exactly. But
let's talk about this Hork-Bajir.
We get to see the fucking Hork-Bajir. We get to see it straight on, well lit, takes up most of the shot. Maybe the first time we've seen so much detail on a Hork-Bajir.
Yeah, so this has actually really opened my eyes to the Hork-Bajir here, because when we initially saw them, I remember I was saying I thought they were maybe CG, and you're saying no, it's a puppet, and I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. It is more like a puppet, but there's something weird looking about them. I think I figured out what they're doing here now.
Yeah,
looking at this, it is definitely not really there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. It is 100%.
On a green screen. I think maybe it's stop motion. It's either like a miniature, like a small puppet, or maybe even a clay model of some kind that they can manipulate, because the way that it moves is so odd looking. And I think in close-ups you'll see like they have a puppet arm for its claws or something, but when you see its full body, I think it's like a stop motion animation. Maybe that's my theory. It's definitely something on a green screen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 100%. It's not there, and you can tell that it's not there. They do not do a good job directing, Mr. In Love with Victor Trent scientist as to what's supposed to be going on. Like he steps into they've modified the GLEAT biofilter, so like now instead of zapping anything that's not human or Yerk, they detect if you have a Yerk in you and they zap you if you don't. So like he gets like fucking disintegrated, this Hork-Bajir, and the scientist really just kind of doesn't react to it happening. He's just like, yep, whatever's happening over there is happening. It's not well done. I mean, I'm watching the Hork-Bajir. It moves weird. I don't know if it looks like stop motion, but it could easily be a model.
I mean, when you look, the next shot is Visser 3. The Andalite is clearly a completely different thing from this Hork. Like, that is just a suit, obviously. Like, I think this is some kind of miniature something. I mean, maybe it's on strings like a puppet.
It looks more like it's on strings like a puppet. Like, it doesn't look like it's like jerky like like with stop motion I'd expect more motion but more jerky throughout, whereas the Hork-Bajir is like so many parts of it are just totally still, and then other parts of it have these like kind of big smooth swings. Like it feels like it's a puppet with like 5 strings attached to it.
I wish they had it on screen for longer because you only really
Mhm.
see it for 5 seconds. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
like I
can't
feel like where
decide.
that's clearest is like right when they first show it, scientist walks up before we cut, he like turns his head, and like man that looks like a puppet turning its head.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't
We'll
know.
have to look it up. We'll have to look it up. It could still be stop motion. What is clear is that it's not there.
Yeah, I want to know whether it's stop motion or whatever. I want to know like how big is this thing?
Yeah.
What does it actually look like? What is it made of? I mean, we don't in the credits. I don't think we see anything about animators or puppeteers. So,
Hmm.
like, what the fuck is it?
I'll have to keep an eye out. I keep forgetting to keep an eye out on the credits of these things, for like, what's the scientist guy's name? What's the puppet? They probably aren't there, but I haven't been looking either.
I couldn't even find. I didn't even see if Axe's actor was credited in the beginning, and he's not in the
Hmm.
end credits.
Yeah. Part of the other issue with the Hork-Bajir looking like it's not there is that it looks really small. Like I'm looking at it on the screen and put it next to this guy, it's clearly gotta be like 7 feet tall or supposed to be like 7 feet tall, but it doesn't look 7 feet tall to me, right? Even though compared to him it is. It looks like some smaller thing that's just kind of blown up in size.
Well,
In
he's
a
standing next to this George Costanza-esque scientist, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Good way to describe him. I don't think we have actually done his description before, but
Yes, perhaps Wilbur-esque for the Mary Worth heads out there.
mm-hmm. I'm a Mary Worthhead. Uh, and it is actually funny because I was thinking watching this, they're cutting between this guy and this Hork-Bajir, who I guess the Hork-Bajir is supposed to be big, and then they cut to Visser 3, and the Hork-Bajir and the guy are shot like straight on, and then Visser 3 they want him to be intimidating, so they shoot him from like way below, and it kind of makes Visser 3 in his Andalite form look 15 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a tall fella. He's got hair in his ears.
He's a tall
Um
fella. He's got hair in his ears.
Pretty good, I guess.
I don't know. It just sounded like that should be set to music. Probably not
They're
that
hanging
music.
out in their science tent, which is just, so they don't have to build a set. It's just literally just a fucking tent with
Uh,
silver walls. It sucks.
the way that they. Hey, yeah, you're right. It's not even fucking walls. It is a tent. Like you can tell, it's like drooping. The little hex
Yeah.
patterns in there are clearly the sewing and the fat. Yeah, this probably is just a tent. The way that it is cut, they have Tobias spying outside of Tom's Burgers, and then we go straight to here. It does. I was kind of
Mm,
getting the impression that this Tom's Burgers was a total like front, right? Like the inside of the building
mm,
is where they're doing
yeah.
this thing, but then that's not. No, it's a real restaurant, and this is just in the Yerk pool below it. Yeah, especially because
Yes.
they drive Edelman to this restaurant. That's why Tobias is scouting it out, and then Edelman's in this scene. Yeah, I mean,
He
the
comes
more we go over it bit by bit, the more I'm like, you're right. There are a lot of like kind of bad continuity mistakes in this.
Yeah, it's strangely put together. Edelman walks through these double doors, which I want to know who designed these doors and where did they come from. They've got this like Art Deco kind of triangle
Mm,
geometric patterns and shapes. You like that? Like when I said Art
Art
Deco?
Deco. Oh yeah, I liked that a lot.
Sounds pretty good, right? Is it
Yeah.
accurate? Doesn't matter. I sound smart when I said it.
Nobody's
But
watching
it's
this episode anyway, so they don't
no,
know. For
they
all
don't
they know,
know.
it's correct.
That's right. But it's like, where did those doors come from? Is there a Yerk designer who was like, these are the Yerkiest looking doors. I'll do this pattern on them. Or like, what is that?
Do
It
you mean
doesn't
like
matter.
in the show itself, like what Yerk decided
Yeah,
this looked good, or do you mean like
thematically.
what production set designer was like, I know what doors would look alien.
Yeah, no, yeah, I
Put them
meant
on the
in
fucking tent.
universe. Yeah, right, right. I put him on the tent. Is this Hork-Bajir getting disintegrated? It must. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
first on-screen death on this show.
I guess you're right. Yes.
And it's not even subtle either. I mean,
Mm.
yes, it's an alien, and yes, they're not getting shot or anything, but they do get disintegrated.
Yeah, he
So
sure does. They
that's
need.
there aren't most Nickelodeon shows aren't showing you disintegration.
That's true. Darth Vader needs to come in here and give Visser 3 a little
Uh,
lecture.
uh,
No disintegrations.
uh,
I think Victor Trent and Boba Fett might get along.
I think you're right. Oh, I think you're right, my friend. Also, my favorite. This is the best line.
Mhm.
There's a few good lines in this episode, but maybe, I think the best one is when they're showing the biofilter and Visser 3 says, "Does it work?" And and the scientist is like, "Oh yeah, in theory." Visser 3 says, "Everything works in theory." No, it doesn't. What does that mean? Everything works in theory?
Yeah.
That no one's ever said that.
I feel like that line could work really well if it was instead anything works in theory, right? To just be like, fuck you, scientist. You don't know until but
Hmm.
everything works in theory. Yeah, maybe I don't know about that.
Everything works in theory.
He
What?
should have made this scientist walk through. Why did Edelman have to walk through? It's not fair.
That's true. We did get confirmation also in this scene that there are Yerks and the Horks. Because
Yeah.
I know earlier I felt like they were treating them as if there weren't.
Yeah, they say they were didn't he says something weird though, doesn't he say like we successfully removed it as though that's a thing you have to do and not just it could leave?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Like
can't
what's that
remember
about?
if they said successfully, but
Maybe
you're
I'm wrong.
probably right.
How did they get the Hork-Bajir to walk through the thing without the
I
Yerk in it?
they're just treating them like they're cattle, which
Yeah.
I guess. Well, no, I don't know. At this point, maybe you could in the book see a Hork-Bajir just being like subservient and not knowing what's going
Oh,
on, and
okay.
they
I'll
just
walk over here.
yeah, or they could have had someone holding a Dracon beam or something,
A
right?
flashlight.
Yeah, just like a cattle prod. Just get in there, get in
Yeah.
there. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I do like the scientist does like a kind of smug little head bobble when it doesn't zap or yeah, a couple times. Like every time it works. I really enjoy him. He's
Oh
fun.
yeah, he does. There's one part where he just does a slow nod, kind of. He's just
Hmm hmm
yeah.
He's good.
Also noticing watching it on the show on mute while we're talking.
Hmm
I notice more and more Visser 3's facial expressions, how exaggerated they are because he doesn't have a mouth, that his nose and eyes are just constantly wiggling and moving around.
Well, that's all they can really do with their puppets, so they really gotta sell it.
Because
Oh, he's very wiggly.
what you would want to do to make that work is you would see his whole intimidating body like towering over them, and his arms could be moving and his tail could be moving, but they can't do that, so
Yeah.
they just have to wiggle his eyes.
Adjust his stance or whatever. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, really, they should just say he's just always going to be Eugene Lipinski from now on because he sells it. He's great.
That is, it's surprising, but sort of. As much as I love Eugene Lipinski, I'm also kind of glad they're not.
hmm
It would be much easier for them to just say he's just always in human morph, even when it doesn't
hmm
make sense. So I'm kind of glad they aren't doing that.
Yeah,
There you go.
I guess there is a line to walk because they do use him a lot more than they ever would do anything like that in the books, which is beneficial because he works and my God, can they not show an Andalite?
It's
But
better for the show, but
yeah.
sort of annoying for the lore heads.
Yeah, and you don't really wanna forget that he's an Andalite, I guess. Unless you just wanna say, "Fuck it, he's not an Andalite, fuck that.
He's
Screw
a
it."
Nothlit now. Whoops.
Yeah, we don't need Andalites in this fucking show, it's just Yerks. It's just the Yerks, that's all we got. Fuck
I
you.
mean, that's the faculty, That's you could do that if
It
you
still
don't.
does work technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, can we get back to the barn,
The
please?
barn, that's my favorite thing. Can you tell what book Jake is reading here?
I definitely cannot. I
I
can tell you that on the floor in the barn, we once again see the book Math Power,
oh,
the
good.
textbook, which I
Math
really like.
power.
Math, which I think is written as one word, Math Power.
Yeah.
Before we get to the book, okay, first of all, listen, one
Mhm.
person sitting up in the rafters in the barn, that's fun.
It's supposed to be Marco too, by the way. He's the rafters
Sure,
guy.
sure. Three? Three of them?
Yeah.
Rachel, Axe, and Marco are all up in the rafters.
Yeah.
Now all I can think about is, so what was the order they showed up in? Did they all come in at the same time? And then it must take you like a good minute or so to climb up there, get comfortable. Like they all waited until they were in position to start
See,
talking.
Marco's always up in the rafters, so that's where he goes. Rachel sees cute Marco sitting up there and goes, I'm going to go up there and sit with Marco. And Axe goes, oh, everyone's up in the rafters. I should come in there too, and kind of third wheels it.
Yeah, I guess that's right. There's also an owl up there, I think, that looks
is there?
extremely fake. Yeah, or unless that's Tobias. I think it's an owl.
Well, it won't be the last time they use a weird fake bird to be Tobias in this episode.
Also, there's something I didn't even notice before. There's like a little bit of, if you want to be generous and call it physical comedy, where Marco is sitting with his fist up and is like leaning his head into his chin into his fist, and you see Axe looks at him and like mimics him and does the same thing. But it's so I think it's supposed to be Axe being like, oh, a human, I'm gonna do some human stuff, but it's so subtle that like they don't call attention to it at all. I didn't even notice it the first time I watched. It's kind of, I wonder if that was just an actor choice, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it wouldn't be the only time that they do something that's kind of reminiscent of that. Like, there's a later bit that I kind of liked where Marco and Jake say something in unison. Like, I think Rachel's like, do I still have to go first? And they're both go, uh-huh. And then Accent follows up with a uh-huh, like kind of late. And it seemed like a similar thing. Like, oh, that's what they're doing. I should do that too. I liked that as a detail, if only we saw more Axe. So I don't know how much of that in this scene is an actor choice and how much of that is something they want to do with his character. But yeah, regardless of whether they want to do it, they're not really doing it because, as you said, I didn't notice this. I was like skipping around trying to find it while you were talking about it.
Yeah, it's like right the first thing when you get into that scene. But there's other stuff is going on. But it's, now that I see it, I like it. It's kind of cute. That, because I feel like that wasn't really a thing in the books. Axe didn't really latch on to Marco too much.
Yeah, or like even you don't get that kind of gesture thing in the books. Like that's the sort of thing that you want to do now that you've got a TV show is Axe trying to mimic human gestures, as opposed to like maybe I write one paragraph where he tries to do a human thing, but then most of the time if he's just standing around because we're not talking about him.
I also just noticed that I'm pretty sure Tobias in this scene is he's wearing like straps on his legs, like he's latched to this branch and not, just of course a free hawk. He is clearly like fastened down so he won't fly away.
Hawk was not cooperating that take.
That's weird. Why do you handcuff your friend when he's hanging out with you? Strange Animorph behavior.
Humane Society did not observe the filming of this to determine no animals were harmed or whatever.
I really did. This scene really hit me that Axe just was not even existent.
Yeah.
He's barely there.
Yeah, they just don't. It's really bad.
Like there's an extra. Like we have to pay him more if he has a line, so just let him sit there.
I mean, I was, because again, Marco does really steal the show in a lot of this. Or Boris Cabrera, is that his name?
Yeah, that sounds like his name.
Okay, yeah, whoever. At some point here, I was wondering, like, do you think they did actually shoot the appropriate amount of other stuff, and then they were just like, oh, damn, this Marco guy, he's leading man material. This is gold. We just cut this other stuff. Put that in instead.
Yeah, well, this is one of the parts where I really, I thought they did such a bad job. Marco makes a joke at the end of this scene. I don't even remember what it is. I don't know if
Mhm.
you wrote it down or anything.
I have it here. I liked it, but
Well, go ahead. Say the jokes, because I don't
they're
remember.
like, we got to go to the Yerk pool, and he's like, okay, but I have to wait because I just ate.
Right. Okay,
Yeah,
sure. It's fine. That's a perfectly fine
yeah.
Marco line. But then what happens is there is silence, except then they like cut to each Animorph in turn. Jake does a little smile, ha ha
Hmm.
ha. Then cut to Cassie. Cassie smirks. Then you cut to Rachel. Rachel laughs, ha ha ha. It's so awkward. And they shouldn't. When Marco makes a
Hmm.
joke, you should immediately cut to something else. Like, you shouldn't be lingering on this dumb joke, and all the other Animorphs shouldn't be going, Marco's the funniest. That's not the relationship
I
there.
do think that I called out disliking that in like the first episode where it like showed all of them laughing at his joke, and I was like, that just pisses me off to have the characters laugh at his joke.
Well, it's worse here because it's not even
Yeah.
like one shot. It's like 5 awkward seconds of silence where they decide to show you in turn each
Hmm.
Animorph laughing. And that's when I was like, whoever edited this episode did a shit job. It feels like a weird like The Room kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Like it does not feel natural at all. And I found it very weird. There's another moment later on where Marco makes a joke, and it's similar. Like,
Hmm.
a Marco joke should be the audience should laugh, and then you should cut to the next line. Like, the more you linger on it, I think the less funny it is.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I would agree with that. I don't want to see everybody else react to his joke. I react to his
Yeah.
joke, and then we're good. I'll just get annoyed seeing other people laugh at
Yeah,
it.
that's not how TV. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
think about any sitcom you've ever watched in your life,
Yeah.
usually they aren't laughing at the jokes that they
Yeah.
say.
The laugh track is there to give a beat for you to laugh. It's not to show the other characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um Now, this is the only scene where we discuss the moral dilemma here, and I'm not gonna lie, like, looking back at what was going on in the original book, hilariously, I think it is more coherent and better handled here than it was in the original, even though it still sucks, there's nothing to it. Jake still does his fucking Civil War speech, which we called out as being, like, maybe not the best last time, um, but, like, in the book, it's just so it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not explored. The way that they're trying to draw parallels doesn't work. They don't even like consider dumping it in the pool. There's all kinds of just it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Whereas here, like at least there's it's like okay, they said it and now we move on and fuck it, we're not going to think about it. Um Jake's Civil War speech. In the books, he does some weird thing about like, you know, would it be okay if some slave owners had slaves? But no, we didn't compromise that we had to free all of them, and I just had so many issues with like who is supposed to be who in this metaphor, and how does this apply to what you are talking about? It almost feels like you are making the opposite point from the one you're trying to make. At least here, he's saying, okay, they didn't fucking kill the slaves to end slavery. They killed the slave owners, so let's attack the pool and not the hosts. So they're going to put the oatmeal in the Yerk pool, which is not in the original book. They did not have this idea yet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're cutting some corners, and I even in the book, I do think at least the through line of the moral dilemma made more sense, and
I,
here it's
oh, really? No,
it's
I think in the book it was here. I
you
think
think it
they
was
are like, but
worse.
I think it was better here because in the book
Well,
it didn't make sense.
I think it's more like in the book. Whether I don't know how you're using the term "make
Okay.
sense." What I mean is like I understood their logic, even if it wasn't in the show. I don't even know what the like discussion is. I don't. It doesn't feel like they know. It's like wait, the oatmeal, but it makes them crazy, but also we
Mhm.
saw, like, we don't really know
Because you
how the
don't know what
oatmeal
the oatmeal
works.
does at all. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe knowing how it's supposed to work in the book is doing some heavy lifting here for this seeming to make sense to me. I'm just thinking like the actual discussions they have about like why it would or wouldn't be ethical here, if I knew what the oatmeal did, at least are coherent and not just rambling. Um,
Right.
but maybe it's just
Yeah.
rambling here too. Yeah, I mean,
I
you are right. I am operating on the assumption that I know what the oatmeal does, and as we established earlier, I don't actually know what the oatmeal does in the show.
it's bad. They could have just simplified it so much. I don't know why they. I think maybe that's the biggest issue with this episode, besides the editing and directing, is in terms of the plot. Is like they tried to stick too close to what the oatmeal is. Just make it
Mhm.
oatmeal makes them go crazy. That's
Yeah.
all you need, and they want to throw it in the pool to mess them up, which is basically what it boils down to
Yeah.
anyway.
That is basically what it is. I mean, I'm wondering if maybe the fact that you read the book once, like a year
Mhm.
ago, versus the fact that like I know this book well is just changed. Like because there were multiple times here where I've been like, I think this is fine, and you were like, I don't think it's good, and I'm wondering if it is just like it's what you're saying. They don't fucking tell you if you haven't read the book series. They don't tell you anything in the series. It very much is designed for you to have read the books, and maybe that's doing some of the lifting here too, right? Like I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
read the books. I know what you're talking about. I don't need to think about it. And you're like, hold on, let me remember this book because the fucking episode isn't telling me.
Yeah, you're definitely meant to fill, not even meant to. They're just expecting you. Or if you don't, that's fine too. The show will be over in 10 minutes, so don't worry about it. But yeah, it's like fill in the gaps, it's like the book. We just cut out a couple scenes. Does it still make sense? Who cares?
Yeah. I
You got
think
to
if
the
you
end.
I think really what it is if you took Jake's Civil War analogy from the TV show and grafted it onto the Civil War analogy in the book, it would make sense in a way that neither of them do in their own context. Is really what it is.
You have
Um,
to watch both to fully understand it.
yes, makes sense. Now, to be fair, I do still think we called it out in the book. I don't necessarily think the Civil War analogy is in good taste here.
Yeah, there's some awkward cuts to Cassie where she looks real. She's like, she's like tugging at her shirt collar. Jake, I don't know about
I think
this.
Jake was reading a Civil War book, probably, is what was going on
That's
there.
that must be what it was. Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was even a real book.
Hmm. Speaking of Cassie, did we mention her hair is up still this episode?
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, hair up,
Yeah,
hair up.
only one hair down so far, and it was the episode that was not book canon.
Right. I think it was episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it was episode. Oh, I thought it was episode 4 at the
Was
mall.
it 4? Maybe it was 4. Maybe it was
I
4.
thought maybe it actually no, maybe it was 3. I don't fucking remember. Who knows? Who fucking knows? I
We're
don't know.
vigilant in our Cassie hair watch over here.
Yeah. Listen, at some point when the season's over, I'll go check my notes. I'll make a little hair graph so you can see
So
where
there'll just be one bump and then a straight line.
I'll look at the length so it'll be a little bit wobbly. I'll get the exact
Okay.
precise centimeters. Yeah. This is a good, healthy, normal thing to do.
Anyway, let me go to Tom's Burgers.
Tom's Burgers,
For some
weird
reason, yeah.
cut. Open on the
Yeah.
fucking somebody's having a birthday party at Tom's Burgers, which by the way, this is their McDonald's because I guess they don't have the rights to say McDonald's in their show. But they have like a whole goddamn birthday cake. So it opens with a shot of a birthday cake saying happy birthday. They blow out the candles. It's like, okay, where are we? We're in a fucking McDonald's. Why? Why is that your establishing shot?
Yeah, it is. It is really honestly so bizarre. Like it doesn't matter. The birthday party does not tie into this scene. They were bored on set. Well, I don't know. We need something interesting to kind of make this pop a little bit. Birthday cake. Let's just start with the birthday cake, I
You couldn't
guess.
start on a burger? A Big Tom burger and the Tom Tom fries?
You know what I was thinking when I saw this
Yeah.
birthday cake? I was like, geez, is Ms. Humphreys going to show up in a minute?
What is this? I know
I
that name.
thought, yeah, maybe Ms. Humphreys is going to show up to because maybe it's my sister's birthday party.
I swear I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Miss Humphreys, the ferret lady I'm referring to, of course, from
Oh, okay.
Alternamorphs.
Yes, from Alternamorphs. That's where I know that from. The fucking. Well, some ferrets do show up in this episode.
Whoa, holy shit, I didn't make that connection until now.
That's
And I
probably why you
also,
thought of it.
I did, by the way, have to go to Seropedia to remember the name of a character from that book. But okay, so that's bizarre. Yeah, Tom's Burgers, like you said, McDonald's obviously not.
Yeah,
they're not paying for McDonald's. That makes sense.
yeah.
I
McDonald's did
don't.
not want this spot. They did not offer to.
No, they sure could have come up with a better name than Tom's Burgers. First of all, there's a prominent character on the
Yeah.
show named Tom.
That is a big deal, I think.
Confusing.
Yeah.
And also, that's not. Are you trying to avoid copyright that badly? You can't just call it. Make it sound like a fast food chain. No place is Tom's Burgers. Call it like Burger Time. I mean, that's an arcade game, but you know what I'm saying. Call it Burgerland or something like fun.
Yeah.
Tom's Burgers. What the
Whack
fuck is that?
Donald's for all the anime heads out there.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Something like that. It just looks like a shitty. It just looks like a diner. It doesn't even look like a burger place. It's like it sucks.
As I said, you know, I looked at it. I thought I would not fucking eat at this place, and then I thought, who am I kidding? I would eat at this place. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's kind of good burger-esque.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Now, this does mean that they can't say Happy Meal with extra happy. They have to say fucking cheeseburger hold the cheese.
Yeah.
Which sucks. It's not clever or
Yeah.
interesting or funny the way Happy Meal with extra happy is. And also, okay, here's the thing. You know, okay, I've never worked in food service, but I have retail experience. The only people coming in and saying Happy Meal with extra happy are some, you know, weird ass lame boomer who thinks they're funny. And any of those people, they're ordering a Happy Meal for their kid, which means that they're so fucking beaten down and exhausted by their little shit that they're not making jokes. All right. Cheeseburger hold the cheese. I guarantee you some asshole comes in and orders that for real like 3 times a day for some stupid ass reason. Like, oh, they do the ratio of the lettuce different on the cheeseburgers than the hamburgers. So I want them to do the cheeseburger. I guarantee you this is not a good password.
You're right. You are absolutely right. That's a very good point. Let me tell you, this is I spotted a fake Animorphs fan through this once.
Oh, did
one
you?
Of my one of my friends. While we were still doing the reading the books, but doing the podcast. This was like a year and change ago, probably. I don't remember, just talking about Animorphs with somebody, and he said like the thing he remembered. He was like, "Oh yeah," and then they say a cheeseburger with no cheese is like the secret password. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You mean Happy Meal with extra happy? And I realized like, oh, they probably can't say that on the show. So you only know the stupid show version because you're a fake show watcher who didn't read the books.
Damn, called out.
Yeah.
You're the fucking expert now. You're the buff, right?
This was a year. This was before we even finished.
Talk about Animorphs to you.
Goddamn right. Don't fucking talk about Animorphs to me. Not in my town. I'll fuck you up. Not in this neighborhood, motherfuckers.
This is Tom's Burger Town.
Anyway, yeah, it sucks.
There's another stupid bit here. Jake is like, oh, where's Axe? And Cassie's like, oh, he had to stay back because we didn't know how long it was going to take to do the password, so we didn't want him to get stuck in morph. Why does Jake not know this? Like, first of all, you don't give us any exposition. You could have just come here without Axe. Who cares? Second of all, why? Like, yeah, Jake, of all characters, Jake doesn't know what the plan is. He has no idea. He wasn't there for this part of the coordination. He's just tagging along. Cassie's the real mastermind. What the fuck?
There's no consistency at all to who comes up with a plan or who knows about a plan on the show.
Yeah.
They're just doing a scene. They're like, I'll figure something out. Cut to two of them in a
Insert
hallway. Where's the
line.
rest of them? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later. We'll go to the barn and we'll talk, and I guess they figured it out. Okay, now there is one. At least they tried in this one scene here. That's kind of fun, which is when, yeah, Marco and Jake are arguing, and they repeatedly are grabbing us the same French fry out of each other's hands as the camera pans back and forth between them.
Yes, I really liked this. This is the bit where I actually thought it was Marco, but I checked and I'm pretty sure it's Jake. Unless I misremember my checking from 2 hours ago or whatever. Um, he where he says like, man, you never hear of any major battles fought with oatmeal. Gettysburg, no oatmeal, whatever. That wasn't called desert oatmeal. I think that might be for the show and not the book. But they go back and forth, and every time they do an example, like Marco and Jake exchange it, they have these quick pans back and forth between them. Yeah, I liked that too. I thought that worked well. Jake and Marco have good chemistry. That like all of Jake's character that's good is his friendship with Marco.
Yeah, it is fun. This made me really just think Jake and Marco are the ones who are going to fuck also, because
Yeah.
they are, they are grabbing a French fry. It actually, you know what it really reminds me of?
Challengers.
Yes. Yes. It is Challengers when they both eat the same sandwich.
You need that fucking phallic French fry churro thing, whatever.
Oh, it's a churro. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's no two guys at a table don't look each other in the eyes and pass French fries back and forth if they aren't fucking. That's just not what happens. Anyway, so good chemistry.
Yeah, it was funny. It worked. Yeah, multiple times I've said Marco really is bringing out his bisexual icon on this show. Yeah, Marco and Jake are the clear shit. Like beyond, you're talking Rachel and Marco, but no, it really is Marco and Jake.
Yeah, I did write down here, is Marco dumb? I can't remember what he says, but I feel like he says something that's way too dumb.
I don't even remember what he said here.
It might be this French fry scene. He has some question that's like, what did you just ask? You're stupid. I can't remember.
Well, I'm not going to turn on the sound, so that's on you if you want to find out. Now, is this the best scene in the episode coming up?
You mean Chip?
Chip! I love him. This shot of
cool.
Chip, this is very Goosebumps core, I think.
Well, see, because I was going to go back to Good Burger again.
Yes, I get the Good Burger too. I just mean the way it's shot. Like the way he talks, I get Good Burger, but this extreme close up of his face. So Chip is their register jockey guy.
Because of course, every fast food restaurant, any food service place really you've ever been to, the first thing they're going to do is introduce themselves to you. I guess a waiter does that, like at your table, but not the cashier behind the counter.
Yeah, he gives like a whole spiel. It's me, Chip. I'm your server today. What can I get you? And it feels much more like a script for starting a phone call. You've reached Tom's Burgers. My name's Chip. How can I help you today? Right, and not, you go to a fast food place. They're like, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah. Well, I guess, he's a yerk, so he's being creepy or something. That's the idea. But
no, they do this big close up of his face where he's like mugging the camera and it's kind of distorted because he's too close. That's what I was getting the Goosebumps vibes from.
Yeah, that's fair. I cannot find this actor. He's not listed on the IMDb page.
Yeah.
Who is Chip?
Who is Chip? I love him. This is where, by the way, he does say home of the Big Tom Burger and the Tom Tom fries. So I referenced those earlier. That's where I got it.
And yet, if you pause and look at the menu behind him, neither of those things are on the menu.
I see a salad. I see a burger.
They have a banquet burger. Which is 5 cents more. It's $4.15 5 cents more than the double burger, which is $4.10. Explain that to me. What's the banquet? What's 5 cents extra on the banquet burger?
They put another extra lettuce, another leaf on that one.
A little flag in the top? What the fuck is that? These prices are crazy.
I mean, you can tell that you're an actual fast food head, and first thing you do is look at the menu and say, "What's the best value? I want my cravings box. Is there a Big Tom cravings box?"
They also have a junior steak dinner. I don't see a regular steak dinner. What, they only have a steak dinner for kids?
A steak dinner is a weird ass thing for this place to have anyway.
Yes. They also sell chicken souvlaki.
Where did they get Greek? This? They definitely just got this menu board from somewhere. This was not designed for them. They picked this up from some other set.
It's very strange. Anyway, Chip is a guy. He's really giving it his all here.
Yeah, he's big and smiley and a stupid creepy. Now, I do like they say I want 4 cheeseburgers, hold the cheese. And he goes from his like big over the top creepy smile, his face goes like super serious and he's like, hold the cheese? And they're like, yeah, hold the cheese. And the way he delivers the line, it feels like he's been stationed here for weeks waiting for his contact who's going to come in. Oh, that's you? You're the one? And not like, he's got to be saying this hundreds of times a day, right? Like,
this Yerk is a theater kid. He loves his job. He really gets into it. He's having fun with it.
He's great. Now, what we didn't mention yet about him, his fucking hat has a burger on it.
I didn't even realize that until now.
Not like a picture of a burger. Like he's wearing like a baseball cap with the logo on the front. It's got like a full goddamn fake burger like on top of the baseball cap. It's fucking crazy. What the fuck is this uniform?
This reminds me a lot of on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She briefly works at a fast food place. I believe it's called Double Meat Palace. I think she also has a hat with like a maybe it's a sausage. Oh no, it's a little cow or a pig or something. I don't know what the fuck that is.
I'm gonna go to Wendy's after this episode.
Oh fuck yeah! They got a new mushroom burger. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck, I'm fucking hungry. Anyway, what were we talking about? Animorphs, I guess. I feel like
Buffy. Actually,
right
you were talking about Buffy.
Oh yeah. Double Meat Palace. So they also in the book, I believe, doesn't only one of them, or the rest of them are bugs, maybe on them. Like they don't all go up as a group and say, "Hey, all 4 of us suspicious people are here for your Gleet biofilter today," right? Or am I wrong?
I think you're right, but like, I don't know. I have to imagine there have to be some families that are just like, "Yep, this is the family Candrona day."
I guess, but it just, something about it feels like it should ring us more alarm bells than, or at least they should think it would. It feels like the safer option is for just one of them.
Yeah,
it feels so suspicious. Like, isn't there
that is
whole
true,
thing
you don't know.
They're trying to keep separate and whatever.
Yeah. It is true that you don't know. For all you know, they always want to have most family members at the family house so they can guard the device in the basement. So they stagger them. But they have to go in one at a time. So you are right. The safer thing is to just go one and make sure. It didn't really occur to me that this is a problem. I don't know that it actually is, but it's not wrong.
Yeah, it's not really a problem, but it is. I don't know. It's just whatever. It's a bit silly. Then they go to the biofilter.
Yeah. Now this is a fucking problem. They go to the when the Hork-Bajir goes through it, it just disintegrates him. They walk into the biofilter and it goes like alert, 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 and they're like, "Oh, I guess we better leave." And then they turn into cockroaches and leave. They don't go down the stairs. I did check. It does. You don't see it, but it feels like they just have a pathway down the stairs from the sound effects, and they don't go down it.
first they cut to commercial as she steps
Yes.
into it,
Yes.
and you're like, oh no, how are they going to get out of this one? And then how did they get out of it? They
It
just
just
move.
doesn't
They
fucking
just
zap them.
it just doesn't work. It just
They
didn't
just
do what it
yeah.
does.
But again, like, Axe later on, he says, "Oh, it has a 3-second delay," which actually it had more like a 30-second delay at least. But they they go back the way they came, and very clearly they could go forward. Right? It's not like they're stuck. Or at least it didn't. The way it was shot, it did not appear to me. Maybe this is another editing mistake. It did
Mhm.
not appear to me that they were stuck in this room waiting for another door to open that they couldn't get through. It felt like that's just the
Right.
archway you walk through, and now you're on the stairs. And they're
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I'm not going to keep walking. There's an alert. Better
Yeah.
turn back.
Definitely. Yes, it is very not explained well at all why they would leave or what exactly they were how any of this is supposed to operate. But then the best part is the Chip hears the alarm and he gets all worried, runs in to see what's going on. They're not there anymore. They turned into bugs and escaped, and he just gives this big smile. He's so proud of himself, like, I guess there's no problem at all. This is great. He's
Yeah.
just not concerned. He's not going to check. This alarm didn't go through to Visser 3 or anything. No guards come. It's just Chip.
Oh, it's just some bugs. That couldn't be anything important.
Everything's
Now,
fine.
Am I missing something, or is this the first morph of the entire episode?
I think that's right. I think that's right. Other than, Axe is morphed.
He is morphed, but he doesn't demorph until the scene after this.
Yeah, and of course Tobias is morphed.
Right, but he doesn't change, so it doesn't count.
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
first morph. Here it is, after the commercial break. Maybe this episode will be on time.
Yeah, maybe it will. We're pretty good at our jobs.
Yeah, you know what? No thanks to our listeners, but
No,
we're
none.
great. Fucking yeah, Axe is an Andalite at the barn, so we get to see his Andalite head. At this was the point where I realized they weren't gonna say Gleet in this episode, and I was kind of pissed off about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cowards, as you said.
Yeah, fuck them.
Cowards. This is actually okay. So now I remembered. This was the scene where I said, "Is Marco dumb?"
Okay.
Is he asks what molecular disintegration is,
Right? Yes.
and I don't think it's a joke. Like he seems very serious about it. It's like, what is that? And they just look at him and silently and awkwardly and weirdly, and he's like, "Oh, I guess they mean you die or something." Like I don't
Yeah.
even know. Like all the editing in this whole episode is strange.
That almost feels like that actually does feel like a censorship thing or a self-censorship thing. More like a self-censorship thing, right? Like a thing
Maybe.
where they say like, I don't want to say it kills them, but if I
Yeah.
say molecular disintegration, the little shits watching this will have no idea what that means because they're dumb. So I need to imply that it kills them somehow, but I can't say it.
Yeah. Problem is, it's so like I already understood
Yeah.
that it kills them because we watched it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. As much as kids are dumb, I think they would get it. I don't think
Yeah.
that they need an explanation.
Marvin the Martian disintegrates people. You
Yeah.
don't like we all understand this
Yeah.
concept.
This is how you learn the word. You don't know what the fuck disintegrate means. It doesn't mean anything. Then you see Marvin the Martian shoot a laser beam, they turn into ash, or a Hork-Bajir walk through a biofilter and turn into little dots, and you go, oh, now I know what disintegration means.
That's right.
It's called context.
So they're gonna turn into moles, right?
Well, to be honest with you, I was a little surprised that they kept the digging bit at all.
Why did they?
Yeah, kind of a boring part where they just spent 25% of the book digging tunnels as moles. Now, here, no, they turn into ferrets, which do burrow, but aren't really known for it. So,
No.
strange choice. I guess they didn't have any moles, but you can buy ferrets at a pet store.
I guess, but I don't know. I guess they can. I just always think of ferrets as being pets. I don't think
Yeah,
of wild ferrets.
right.
So I'm not even. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know. Are ferrets as good at digging as moles? I
Yeah,
don't.
I don't know because like they do burrow, but like how much of that is they find and live in burrows, and how much of that is they're good at digging? I don't know. Moles,
Yeah.
as is explained in the book, aren't even that good at digging. They're very slow. Uh, it's fine because they're very small and don't need to go anywhere fast. They're mostly just using it to hide. But like the reason it took so fucking long in the book is because they spent like a week.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
least you know a mole digs.
Here it is, a minute long scene where they're just like, all right, turn into a ferret. Okay, I got a hole. Let's go.
Which was
So
correct if you're going to keep the digging part to not keep the digging part.
yeah, but then it also is like, well, then why even have it?
Yeah.
I don't. I guess
Yeah.
how well they needed another way in because the biofilter they wanted to turn around. I don't know. The whole everything is
Yeah.
just it's there because it was in the book, but then they
Yeah.
don't really think through why it's there. It's
Yeah.
just that's the part that happens.
Yeah. I mean, like I was saying earlier, you want to keep GLEAT biofilters. They don't have to be part of this story if that forces you to put a mole in it, right? And I don't, whatever. You can, this is a story you mix and match, not a story that you take wholesale. But they did.
Yeah. Yeah. But this does give us, however, a line that I really liked, which was, "How can we get all this oatmeal inside such a small ferret hole?" That's my number 2 line
That's a
after
pretty good
everything works in
line.
theory. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I just more noticed when they said that he pulls out a very normal sized bag of oatmeal that's just like, this is not poisoning anyone. I don't, what the fuck? Like in the book, they had this problem too, except that they spent like a week stockpiling oatmeal, so they had a shitload of oatmeal and they were like, "You know what? This isn't enough oatmeal. We need enough to poison like fucking 10,000 people." Uh they've got enough here for like 2 weeks worth of breakfasts for a guy. In the book, they solved this because the Yerks have 2,000 pounds of contraband Yerk oatmeal in the Yerk pool itself. But
Yeah, yeah.
here, the way they solved their problem of getting this small bag down the hole is they put it into smaller water balloons that they're just going to throw at, I guess, the Yerk pool or something.
Yeah. Well, let's explain this next scene to me because
Uh,
that now they get down into the Yerk pool.
yeah.
They're all humans now pretending to be controllers,
Yes. They they
except for
they
Tobias.
they go down into a hole as ferrets, a tiny little hole. They cut to them in the Yerk pool as humans walking along through the corridors. Tobias is down here too.
Now, am I misunderstanding or misreading this scene? It seems like they're all communicating to each other in thought speak while they're in human form. Or is it
I
only
oh,
Tobias and Axe doing it or something?
I
Or is
thought
it
it was
like
only Tobias and Axe. I did make a note that Axe definitely seems to be thought speaking as a human, but I thought oh, that's because Jake says Tobias keep a lookout and he thought speaks back. And it's not clear that he is down there with them because you don't see them and you think, well, he must be up top because he can't morph to come through the hole because it's not book 17. Uh,
yeah, he's in there. He
but he
figured it
is
out.
in there, so maybe he was. Hold on,
Maybe
I'll have
it's
to find
just
the scene.
Tobias who's doing it, but you just see them in a line and
Yeah,
they're just all you just hear voices and I was like, "Huh? How are they who's talking and how? This isn't how this works."
yeah, I didn't think about it because with Axe, there's clearly an echo. Maybe there is on Jake too, and I just didn't notice it because they're in a cavern.
Well, they can't just be openly communicating with each other because
Okay,
they're in the Yerk pool.
all right. So here's the thing. I watched it. I don't have the sound on because whatever. I did watch it. Jake's mouth doesn't move during the scene where he says that.
Yes.
So I
It
guess
it
they're thought
definitely
speaking as humans.
I I guess well cuz they have the echo, but now I'm wondering maybe that's just the cave echo as opposed to their
Yeah,
thought speak.
yeah. But his mouth doesn't move.
Yes. And there is definitely Rachel talks in this scene, so like her voice is being heard.
Uh, Just a production error where they ADR it in and they forget. that they don't have to hide their mouths when they do that because they often ADR shit in when
Yeah,
people are having conversations.
I think they were supposed to be not thought speaking, but because it's weirdly ADR'd and because there's an echo, which is also how you know they're thought speaking, it's very confusing.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't really pick up on that, but yeah, not great.
but
Man,
also
the
because
more
if it's
we
not thought speak, how can Tobias hear Jake? They're not next to each other.
well, I mean, again, this was my thought is because Tobias is not next to him, and then it's like, oh, I guess maybe he is next to him because he's apparently down there, as we will later see.
But
But
then
in
you
this scene,
cut,
we don't see. How
yeah.
the fuck did he get down here?
he just he just went down that hole as a bird and just spun around like a torpedo
They
and
couldn't
shot
fit
through.
a fucking regular sized bag of oatmeal you pick up at the grocery store down the hole. It was too small. How did they get a hawk down here?
He figured it out. He got it there. He's a limber fella. I don't know. This whole scene is confusing. I still thought that the Yerk pool still to me looks fine. I don't know if this is this supposed to be the same Yerk pool or is this like an offshoot Yerk pool? I
Yeah,
can't even
so
remember.
things that are slightly better this time. The walking through corridors to get there makes it feel like maybe this is part of a larger complex
Mm,
than before. The fact that it is definitely the same set and it felt recognizable to me made it kind of hurt that a little bit. Like, oh, I guess it's just this other small thing. This is not under half the town unless there are, 100 of these small things. They
mm,
also, I think the color scheme is different. I feel like it was
mm.
more saturated before. It was like more brown, more red light all over everything. And here it's a
Yeah.
lot more grayed out, which I think helps because it softens out the detail, which looked like shit. And so
I
now
think
you
it's
can't
lit
see it as
better.
well. I,
Yeah.
I was almost like, I don't even know that it's lit better. It's lit so that it's harder to see how bad it
Yeah.
looks.
Well, that's what I mean by lit
Yeah.
better. Everything's more in shadow.
hmm
So it's more like it's implied, you can imagine how big this place is as opposed to just kind of seeing it right in front of you. It
Yeah.
looks a little more like you said, less saturated. It looks more like more realistic in that way too, I think.
It looks better at least than it did before. I'll say that. I still don't think that it gives you the impact of under half the town that I was promised both in the books and in the first half of this episode, but it
I think
is
it looks
better
big.
than before.
I think it's pretty good. Now, there's a joke here that I also thought was funny, but also doesn't make sense and is really stupid.
Yeah, I have Marco is funny written down. I don't have what he said.
It's kind of Marco, but it's kind of an axe joke. Is the joke
Oh, is this his
is
other joke?
I was thinking of what does Marco say? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what he says. You know what? I think this is a different joke I said Marco is funny for. I don't know what it
Yeah,
was though.
well, I do have
Whatever.
another note that I don't remember either, which is probably the same joke where I
Okay.
said that they're doing a terrible job cutting from Marco's jokes. So
Okay, that's probably what it is. Yeah.
probably my exact same complaint as last time.
hmm
But then there's a part where they're all going to throw the oatmeal in the pool, and Marco says to Axe, "You do know how to throw, right?" Which is like that's kind of funny. And then Axe says, "What?" Or no, I think Axe nods.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, of course. And then,
Yeah, and then he goes, "What is throw?"
yeah, that's kind of
Now,
funny.
I did laugh, but also it doesn't make sense.
I
Like he
mean,
should know what throwing
it's
is,
not necessarily wrong that, like, I was
isn't
thinking
it?
here. Well, I was thinking here, because the combination of already being painfully aware of the fact that they haven't fucking morphed and they're probably not going to, and the fact that they're throwing water balloons and then this joke about it, I was thinking, you know, if what you want to do is throw a water balloon by leaps and bounds and it's not close, the best morph is human. Nothing can throw even close
Yeah.
to as well as a human can, which was kind of funny to think about.
I don't
Andalites
know.
probably
Big,
cannot
big
throw like
Jim.
humans can. No,
You don't think?
apes cannot throw well. They can kind of like do a shitty little
Hmm.
lob of like 5 feet. They cannot. They don't have the right biomechanics. You have to be like bipedal to do it. Andalites probably cannot throw very well either.
But
Although I
he
think
knows what throwing is. He knows if he
Yeah.
understands English, and he knows what arms are, and he knows like
Well, not necessarily. Because he would have words for arms in Andalite language. He
No,
might not have a word
this
for
is
throw in
stupid.
Andalite.
That is stupid.
Why
Do
would he
not,
have a word for Andalite?
Don't defend this. He's not. Then why isn't he going around like,
It's
"Hey,
like-
pass me that fork"? What is pass? Why does he know anything?
No. Because he would pass because he has hands. That's like it's more like saying like. He might say, "What is chew?" And you'd be like, "How does he not know what chew is?" Well, of course he doesn't know what chew is. They don't chew. If Andalites don't throw with their arms, and they might not because
Why?
they wouldn't be good at throwing.
Excuse me. Hey, motherfucker. What's blitzball? Yeah, that's right.
They
Game
probably
set
hit it.
match, bitch.
I bet they hit it with their tails. No, I actually do seem to recall them throwing spears in the Elmist Chronicles, but I don't think an Andalite should be able to throw.
Since the dawn of time,
they should be able to like lob stuff.
The concept of throwing, since Tumen came down and spoke to the Andalites and sired his kin, never did one of them pick an object up and lob it somewhere for any
maybe
reason.
They should know the word lob or toss, but maybe they don't know
throw. Fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I almost certainly can throw better than an Andalite could, and I can't throw for
That
shit.
is not relevant to the discussion. I don't care how good they are at it. They know what it is. They know what it is. It's a basic
Why would
action.
they do it when they could just hit something off their tail blade? They could bonk it like a baseball bat. They don't know what it is.
Why do they have arms at all, then?
You probably don't even have a word for what it means to hit something with the blade on your tail to send it flying. You have no idea. An Andalite would say that word, and you would have no clue what it means. And then they would say, well, you have like a... Don't you have arms to throw stuff? Couldn't you bat something with your arm away or something? You don't know what the fuck that word means? Of course you don't. You can say bat, but you can't say that word. I don't know. It makes sense to me.
No, you sound like a fucking idiot right now, and everyone agrees with me. By the way, I said Blitzball, and that's Final Fantasy. It's Driftball is the fucking...
I was gonna say Blitzball sounded wrong, but I couldn't remember, so I didn't call you on it because I didn't want to sound stupid.
Well, good luck with that.
Driftball.
Unfortunately, Seropedia doesn't have an entry about Driftball, so I can't tell you any more details about it.
I believe all we know is that it's played in 0 or low G, and the courts are huge. I think we get like 1 or 2 sentences about it.
Anyway, it's a stupid joke.
It's funny. I liked it.
I don't know what we finally get some Lipinski. He's the MVP once again of this episode.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Yeah, he's in here. He does some chewing the scenery. You know, there are Andalite bandits among us. You know, that kind of stuff. Fucking Tobias gets shot.
Oh yeah.
And fucking they drop like a dumb dead bird doll down. Jake has to cradle this bird like, Tobias, no. Which, by the way, I'm gonna keep coming back to this for the whole rest of the discussion because they don't really ever show Tobias getting better. Like he gets shot. The fucking it's not like you can't make a stuffed bird look kind of injured. Right, you either pretend it's alive or it's fucking dead. And the whole episode, Jake's just carrying it. They get back up top. They show Tobias flying, but it's in like a montage of other scenes, some of which already happened, and it's kind of superimposed over a thing while Rachel's doing the ending narration. It could easily be an in memoriam. Tobias is fucking dead. They killed him.
Yeah, I actually didn't even remember. I didn't even realize that they don't explain that.
Yeah. Well, I went back and looked because I did not remember. I finished the episode and I was like, so is Tobias dead? So I went back and looked and yeah, they only show him in that ending shot.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
dead.
This bird, there's no attempt to make it like still breathing. It looks dead as fuck.
Yeah.
It is
it's fucking
roadkill. Rachel also, this is what gets them into trouble, is she's the one who runs out and is like, Tobias, no. I don't know if she says Tobias, but
she does say like, no, and they
which
do
is also
slow-mo
Come on, amateur hour. Are you fucking serious with this shit? Everyone
It's
in this Yerk
funny.
pool sees her do that, though.
I mean, yes, but all of the Animorphs except for Rachel spend this entire fight sequence as a human because now Visser 3 is like, get those
sucks.
Andalite bandits. They have their fucking flashlights, which, by the way, we get close-up shots of them shooting their Dracon beams, and it's so apparent that they're just flicking their flashlight on and off, like click, 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 little light switch rave thing going on. It looks so dumb.
It is so bad. Also there's a shot where two of them are passing each other and diving while holding them out,
I'm
and
sorry.
the beams are on.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
A shot? There's two
Oh,
shots.
is there more than one?
There
Okay.
are multiple shots of two controllers doing the thing where they both dive past each other in slow motion, shooting a gun at the camera. Multiple shots.
But they're not flashing it on and off. The beam is on the whole time. So if that's the beam, then they should be shooting each other as they pass each other. So what is that? What does that mean?
This whole sequence, I was laughing my ass off, especially when they did the second one of those shots. It's such a dumb shot. The flashlights, the slow motion of Cassie running across a catwalk, and there's sparks flying all around her. There's this video game music playing.
Rachel turns into a lion so that she can push Visser 3 down.
Yeah, I think that's all this lion is gonna do. Is the lion?
Only a lion could do that.
It'll jump out. Some guy will fall into the Yerk pool. That's all we can do with our animals.
At least, though, we get the third best line of the episode. When Marco nails a Hork-Bajir with some oatmeal and says, "Nothing but Hork."
Nothing but Hork. This fucking Hork-Bajir. There's Hork-Bajir all around here. We get some Hork feet stomping. There's a bit where Jake is right before Marco does the nothing but Hork. Jake is cradling dead Tobias, and a Hork-Bajir is gonna get him. It's just another slow shot of all of the other shots with Visser 3's monster hand coming for someone. It's just a monster hand, only it's a Hork-Bajir monster hand coming at Jake from behind. It's so slow. Come on, you can't even use these things. Why are they here? Marco gets him with an oatmeal balloon.
But hey, you know what? They are there. So I guess at least I don't know, maybe it's a step up from just showing one somewhere and then that's it. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a step up.
I don't know. I mean, I will say I did love this whole scene. It was so stupid and cheesy. I loved when they hit Victor Trent with the oatmeal water balloon and he's like, "Stop them!" It was really good. I was really enjoying myself a lot. I have some note about the music that just says dugga dugga dut dugga dugga dut dut. It's good.
Yeah.
I
think they've used that music before too.
I think they have, yeah. I'm loving it. It's good.
It's not good, but it's good. I honestly thought that was maybe the best scene of the episode, and I don't even mean ironically. I think it actually was the most coherent and well-flowing part of the episode. For whatever that's worth. Yeah, and then it's over.
Then it's over. Then it is over. They come up. It's it's a quick cut. They're running up the stairs, and then it cuts to some ferrets coming out of a hole. Somehow they got dead Tobias up too. I don't know. Who gives a shit about Tobias?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They dragged him through with their ferret teeth.
Rachel, we immediately go to Rachel's ending voiceover. And this is the bit. It's you see the Yerk pool and Visser 3 doing his evil laugh that he did. Victor Trent doing his evil laugh superimposed over it, and then Tobias flying as a hawk superimposed over it. It's the only confirmation we get that they even remember he exists. Rachel's whole spiel is Visser 3 doesn't care about anything because he was willing to sacrifice all the Yerks in the pool, but we care. We don't care about fucking Tobias.
Maybe the next episode is Tobias is gravely injured, and that's when the
Mm.
Elemist comes down to heal him and give him his power.
It's like it's like when Tobias got trapped as a hawk in the first place in the show, and rather than dealing with it, they just forgot about him for an entire episode.
Yeah. Well, Rachel's already moved on.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
got
we'll see.
Marco now.
I do think it would be very funny if Tobias is not in the next episode. He's dead.
Who knows? I can never predict what the show is going to do. It could be book 17. It could be book 2. It
Yeah.
could be a new thing. I don't know. We know we're going to see Eric at some point. I do think the Elemist has to show up, and I feel like that might be soon. We also haven't dealt with Marco's mom yet. I don't. They could
Yeah.
go anywhere.
It could go anywhere. See, the problem is next episode is a book title, and it would be an appropriate one to do next. So I'm like, I think it's probably that one. But
We don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? It technically could be any of the ones you said too. I mean, fucking, this wasn't the escape. It had nothing to do. The episode had nothing to do with fucking escaping.
It really did. I guess they escaped the Urk pool at the end.
I don't know. Yeah, still love Victor Trent. Still think Marco is charismatic and fun. Still love some of the overacting, all the Edelman stuff with stupid dolly zooms. Still not getting much out of the characters. Unfortunately, this is now holding true for Axe as well.
Yeah.
As you said, actually picking it apart, this episode wasn't well put together.
I think it's pretty bad, and I think I don't know. I feel like the beginning of the show, I was really giving them a lot of slack because I was like, well, we're just getting started, and my expectations are low. I understand what we're doing here, but the longer we go and it never corrects its mistakes, I'm just like, well, I guess that's just what the show is.
Yeah.
I don't, and now like even the Marco stuff. I mean, yes, some of his jokes were funny, but even that I'm having issues with now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, that's just more how they're cutting around it. I do think Marco's actor is good, and I think the writing for his character is good enough for his actor to make it good.
What? Maybe the problem was that they paired him with Rachel in this episode, and the chemistry truly just isn't there like it is with Jake. Yeah. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad saying it because, you don't want to dunk on real human beings, but I do think mostly the writing has failed Rachel, but I do think that Rachel's actress is probably the weakest of all of them on the show.
I think you're right about that as well. I don't think she's particularly great. But like I said, it is hard to say because her writing is also the weakest. Like, Cassie had no writing. She had a little bit in one episode, and it was like, all right, that's fine, but not, actually good enough. And Rachel, we've now had 2 Rachel-centric episodes, and I really just don't, there's like nothing there, and it's not just the actress. There's nothing there.
I think she's miscast maybe because I just don't ever, I cannot see her as being fierce in any way.
Yeah. Yeah, that part is 100% on the actress. She doesn't have the psycho energy.
It was on the show or the writing until this episode, I think. When they actually tried to give that to her. And now I was like, well, now it just falls completely flat.
Yeah, there's a bit, I almost didn't talk about it before. Or I didn't talk about it before, even though it's in my notes. There's a bit way early on in the episode where they're pretending to be doctors and talking to Edelman, and she gets like really upset, and she's like, well, there's got to be some way we can help you and get the Yerk out of you. And it's like the most I've seen her like really emote and feel an emotion, and it's not a Rachel emotion. It's like a concerned, I want to help out emotion. And it doesn't resonate with anything that I expect her to be or anything that she's been written to do. Yeah, I do think there is an issue there. Like, Cassie's actress can at least perform her material, even though her material is not good and she can't elevate it the way Marco can.
Yeah.
Boris.
Yeah. That's right. Nadia. Boris and Nadia, what are they, fucking Russian spies?
Holy shit. I didn't even... Holy shit. God damn.
Hey, Cassie, we have to go to the York pool. Oh, yes, Marco, you are very funny. Let me take my arm out of this goose.
There's a very strange wrinkle here in that Cassie is also squirrel.
Damn, imagine if they just had a moose and squirrel morph and they got to make a joke about that.
God damn. I don't think there are any moose morphs in Animorphs.
That is such a missed opportunity. Fanfic time.
Fanfic time.
Do they morph squirrels?
Cassie does at the beginning of book 4. Cassie's got this fucking wolf morph. Why doesn't she morph a moose? That would have been a great battle morph.
By the way, they still only Jake and Rachel have battle morphs at this point.
True.
I mean, unless you count Andalite and Hawk, but Marco and Cassie do not have anything to fight with.
Yeah. Well, what has Marco turned into so far? A lizard,
a rat,
and a roach. Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Maybe a bird. Maybe he was a bird once.
Don't even remember him being a bird. Oh, a butterfly.
Oh, yeah. They were all butterflies.
I should go and make a list of all the morphs they definitely have.
By the way, Paolo Costanzo, who plays Axe, he is in the end credits. Whoever plays Chip, not in the end credits or on IMDb. This is a mystery we need to solve.
All right. We'll solve it. You use some like face recognition AI software shit.
And shout out to Brian Renfro, as always, trainer of Homer the dog. Who was not in this
Where's
episode.
Homer?
Yeah. We don't know where Homer is.
I was trained to expect Homer every episode.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's all I have to say about this.
Yeah, I think we've covered this one pretty more extensively than I thought we would.
Yeah, turned out that way, didn't it?
Oh God.
Well, thanks for listening, folks.
You don't want to plug yourself?
Well, I can plug some things.
That's fine.
Well, I'm going to first plug our Patreon because I'm actually very excited about this week's Patreon episode. Patreon.com/the We're going to have a bonus episode where we talk about Speaker for the Dead, the second novel in the Ender's Game series by famed bigot Orson Scott Card.
It is pretty exciting. I am also hyped for it.
I haven't actually, at the time of this recording, finished the book all the way, but I'm very eager to talk about it. So I think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't have either, but I did that rather than talk to my family when I visited them for Thanksgiving.
As you should. As you should. And if you want to follow me, you can check me out on Blue Sky at Quince on Blue Sky. My website is jonathanesses.com. Find me on YouTube at The Quince, where you can see the Animorphs music video that we made. If you missed it, it's still up there.
Check it out. It's great. The critics are raving.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 8, The Alien, in which, and this one might actually be true, Axe turns into a boy on the Yerky Boys.
That's probably the same.
I think so.